retail partners. As a result of this deal, Big Lots will keep hundreds of their stores and distribution centers open. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
William is one of millions of Americans who uses GoodRx to save on the cost of their prescriptions.
My oldest daughter, Camilla, 2 days old, she had to have open heart surgery. All of a sudden, she's on 5 different medications. It adds up at the end of the month. Me and the pharmacist got so tight. She said, GoodRx save you a lot of money. Saving that extra $200-300 a month. We're able to do all these extra activities, so it puts less stress on our household, and it puts less stress on our pockets.
Download the free app or visit GoodRx.com and start saving today. GoodRx user compensated for their time. GoodRx is not insurance, but can be used instead of insurance.
Sometimes I struggle to get to sleep. My body stopped for the day, but my mind is still running. So I take ZzzQuil.
ZzzQuil, the world's #1 sleep aid brand, has a range of non-habit-forming products to fit you and your family's needs. Invest in a great night's sleep for the best you tomorrow.
I'm awake and ready to take on anything.
Better days start with ZzzQuil nights. Explore our products at ZzzQuil.com. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is a Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
That's how you conduct yourself in a democracy.
I'm a better looking person than Kamala.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into the program here on a fine Monday in the River region, broadcasting right out of Montgomery, Alabama. And I'm looking forward to heading into the new year. But of course, that means not only are we going to reminisce about what happened in 2024 these next couple days, we're also going to be looking ahead, whether it's international, national, state, or local. And so much to get to today, actually. I'm happy. It's much better than last week where there was nothing in the news. It's almost like the news is contrived. Like people take days off and then it's not there. But joining me today, Eddie's, of course, here. How you doing, Eddie?
Doing good. How you doing, bro?
I'm all right. And Troy Carrico here in the studio as well, returning to the show. How you doing today, Troy?
Great, brother. I hope everybody had a good holiday. Oh, yeah.
And coming up at the 1 o'clock hour, we're going to have a veteran and an advocate for veterans, especially getting them treatment with substance abuse and other issues out there. John Kilpatrick will be joining the show, and look forward to really seeing what his organization has done in the state and how he came about, like his story. And thank you for setting that up, Troy. I really appreciate it.
No worries.
And of course, I just can run down headlines real quick here. You know, last week we ended with the big Twitter MAGA fight, the MAGA civil war over H-1B visas. And it looks like Trump came out today and backed more Elon and Vivek's point of view on this, saying, I use H-1B myself. And Elon has already come out and said, I know that the program's abused. Here's some basic practical things we could do. This is why I was saying Friday, I think it's a fake debate. I think there are certain folks trying to drive it as a wedge issue. So I think that issue is going to go on the back burner, and they're going to do good things. Like a practical example Elon gave is you could up the income threshold. So it can't be like that $80,000 a year to work at you don't make 80 grand working at a call center necessarily, but you know what I'm talking about. You could actually up the threshold of what actually qualifies for H-1B. And then you could also put certain costs and demands on the companies if they're going to use these sorts of things. So I think that's in the past. Elon then came out, and it's got millions of views now. Musk promotes positivity on X. I think he said, I want to see more positivity and feel-good stories. Y'all post more. Okay, we'll see that. Of course, the big news over the weekend, passing of President Jimmy Carter. He is was the oldest ex-president in the nation's history. Died at 100 years old.
Yeah.
And the funeral is set for January the 9th. Biden has declared that day, January the 9th, the day of mourning officially. I believe Governor Ivey, I saw it in passing, called for flags to be lowered to half-staff for President Carter. And, let's start there before we keep going into all the, top 10 hoaxes of the liberal propaganda press, or Biden sending more money to Ukraine, weapons to Ukraine, or all sorts of things we get into. But Jimmy Carter, I obviously am not born until 1988, so I didn't really know much about Carter other than him being an ex-president, looking in the rearview mirror. But what do you two gentlemen here think of when I said the name Jimmy Carter? We'll start with you, Eddie.
I thought he was a great man, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be a great president. And I don't think he was a great president. He was president when I was alive, and we were here and then went over to Turkey, too, while he was alive. And again, I don't want to knock the man, don't speak ill of the dead, but that doesn't mean that just because you're a great person does not mean you will be a great leader.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And, my impression, looking back at old clips when he was president, and this is terrible for a commander-in-chief to be this way, and that's a big part of the job, but I did like that he did seem nonchalant, like he could do without the job. He's like, I don't need Washington. I don't need all this. There did seem to be this common sense, Southern, very humble approach to things. And I think that was borne out in his ex-presidency with all the things. He made Habitat for Humanity a powerhouse.
Like he did great things as not as a president.
But what do you think of Jimmy Carter when I said that name?
I think in order to really, to talk about him is you need to really understand the context of what time this country was going through. We were just coming off the heels of a long, protracted war in Indochina. A lot of government lies. Neil Shin and Bright Shining Light came out in the early 70s. We had Nixon falter with Watergate. Then we had Ford as just a placeholder. And then we got basically it's funny because he wasn't the front runner early on in that campaign, if you know, but he got the popular support. The Allman Brothers helped him out. I know that. I've read a lot on him. And the thing is this, one of the stories I remember about him is he was so naive, had good intentions, but the path to hell is paved with good intentions, my mom says. And the thing about it is no good deed ever goes unpunished. He had his chief of staff working for a couple weeks right when they got in just to dole out timelines for people to come in from the public and play on the tennis courts at the White House. There's much more pressing issues. We had an oil crisis looming. We had so he was clearly overwhelmed, not part of the system, and he could never drain the swamp with that mindset, but still a great Christian man. I don't agree with his politics, but I agree with his personality. So,
Well, and, for instance, you could say that even I heard Sky saying this on the show before, you could say that Bill Clinton's personality he's pretty charming dude,
charming,
but I wouldn't call Bill a good man.
No.
How many ex-presidents would you call a good man?
That's a really valid point.
Because great men often are not good men.
Everybody's got bad.
Right.
Right. So I'm looking here at a list of facts about Jimmy Carter, and I really didn't know this stuff. Carter was the first future president born in a hospital. He was born October 1st, 1924 in a 60-bed hospital. And most births at that time and in the early 20th century were taking place at the home still.
Yeah.
So it's just amazing how much this country has grown in just the last century. I think we forget how rough our great-grandparents probably had it.
Really.
He was the first president to be inaugurated by nickname. He actually used the name Jimmy instead of James. Jimmy and Rosalind Carter were married longer than any presidential couple. That goes to the good man thing.
Yeah.
Pretty amazing. He installed solar water heating panels on the roof of the White House. I didn't know that one.
I didn't know that too.
That seemed, that's a little too cute by half.
He was a little ahead of his time, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Mr. Carter's judicial appointments were the most racially and gender diverse at the time. Okay. A devout Christian, he struggled with abortion, but later supported same-sex marriage.
Yeah. How's that work?
Yeah.
He made eradicating the guinea worm a personal mission and pretty much did succeed. The 39th president's nonprofit organization, the Carter Center, launched its campaign to globally eradicate guinea worm disease in 1986, when there was an estimated 3.5 million cases of the painful parasitic condition worldwide. Wow. There is no cure for the ancient disease, which is contracted by consuming a larval parasite in unfiltered water inside the body that grows into worms up to 3 feet long. Oh, my God. By 2022, just 13 cases were reported worldwide. So I would call that a success.
Certainly.
And he spent 89 seconds inside a nuclear reactor in meltdown.
I knew that, too. People forget he was a trained nuclear physicist. So.
Right. When a nuclear reactor in Ontario, Canada exploded in 1952, spewing radioactive material into the atmosphere, the U.S. Navy deployed a team including Mr. Carter, then a 28-year-old lieutenant, who had helped develop the first nuclear submarine to assist Canadian authorities with dismantling its partially melted core. Lieutenant Carter entered the reactor dressed in protective gear with 2 other specialists, exposing himself in 89 seconds to the same amount of radiation that the general population absorbs in a year. Wow. Elvis Presley called Mr. Carter, but was too high for the president to understand him.
Not surprised. Not surprised at all.
Now that's character. Elvis at the end of life is fascinating, like very tragic, very sad. But there's a clip of him where he can barely walk. He can barely speak, but there must be a different part of the brain that controls the musical side, because he could still sing and just nail like those old gospel hymns better than anybody else. But apparently in a 2011 interview, Jimmy Carter recalled that shortly after his inauguration, he received a phone call from Elvis at the White House. Quote, he was totally stoned and didn't know what he was saying. His sentences were almost incoherent. Carter told the New Yorker magazine. The singer apparently wanted the newly sworn-in president to pardon a sheriff who was in trouble with the law. Huh.
Wasn't Carter president too when Willie Nelson smoked the old joint there?
No, that was Bill. That was Bill Clinton. And I think Bill inhaled, but he never fully inhaled.
He ate some brownies.
Just puff past.
He ate some brownies back in the day.
Okay, this next one, last one, I didn't even know, and ain't that America is what I say to this. British tabloids accused Mr. Carter of breaching royal protocol by kissing the Queen Mother on the lips.
Oh, nice.
Get you something.
That's how we do it in Georgia.
That's right. Get it fresh there.
Mr. President. I want Trump to go for that with the king. Just why not? Just a power move.
Maybe he'll start driving on the right side of the road.
Yeah.
So, I rest in peace. I thought earlier in the campaign where they rolled Carter out and all that was not
so wrong.
Don't do that. But it is good when somebody, a major personality in politics, passes away, and I have not heard too much negativity. Of course, there's always a little, but I haven't heard much, and so may he rest in peace. And
Yes, absolutely.
That's just the big news that caught everybody's attention, I think, over the weekend. But there's more. Not only did Trump side with Elon and Vivek on the H-1B issue, Trump also has come out and endorsed Mike Johnson for speaker.
I saw that.
And this is what I've been waiting for. I was saying it last week. It's like daddy's almost home, but he's not quite home.
He's in the driveway.
And it's like, sir, could you please call in a few orders? Because the natives are fighting.
Yes, they are.
Without your leadership. And I think Trump coming in saying, nope, we're not having a fight over the speaker. In fact, nope, we're not going to have a huge fight over immigration. We're going to make decisions and we're going to move this agenda quickly. I think it's a pretty good sign. And what's hilarious is all the big voices that like are on either side of Mike Johnson's great. Mike Johnson's terrible. Kick him out. I think this is a good thing that Trump is already speaking up. He kind of went missing during Christmas.
He did.
He's been low profile for a little while.
He's been very quiet.
So is J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
And maybe they're just getting ready and keeping their powder dry, as they say. I don't know.
Maybe there's some upset going on there. There's hit teams that are out there from Iran. So
yeah, no, we just gotta keep it together. Now, another thing locally that caught my eye over the weekend is the Alabama Big Ten mayors of the top 10 cities, mayors of the top 10 cities in this state. They have renewed a push to raise the online sales tax. I looked over at Eddie because I've learned to read his face, and it's just, you want to higher sales tax on online purchases, Eddie?
No.
No. Yeah, I don't either.
No, I don't.
Troy, you want higher taxes on?
I think that the state is obviously, for a red state, does some things that I don't understand, and taxing is one of them.
Right.
Yeah, and this is what really got my attention. I wrote about it over the weekend. But so let me just kind of put this out there. This is how I feel, because the idea is to raise the internet sales tax. But I'll just say taxation does not become fair by being levied equally. Nor does uniform taxation actually create a level playing field or foster equality amongst men. Yet Alabama's Big Ten mayors are falsely relying on exactly this tired and tortured appeal to equality in their latest push to increase taxes on Alabamians. Jeff Poore reported over the weekend, quoting Jeff's reporting, in the proposal offered for the 2025 legislative session by State Representative Chris England, who's a Democrat from Tuscaloosa, the so-called Alabama Simplified Seller's Use Tax, SSUT, rate would increase from 8%, that's too damn high already, to 9.25% and be distributed to the Education Trust Fund budget, the General Fund budget, local boards of education, counties, and municipalities. Proponents claim that they do not necessarily want to charge more for online purchases, but to level the playing field for their brick and mortar retailers. Quoting the mayor of Madison, Paul Finley, quote, I don't want residents to necessarily pay more, but I do want the equality that's in place for the sales structure we have in place right now as a municipality. If we're at 9%, that should be what our internet sales tax comes back to, just to have an equality standpoint. Think again of what Mayor Finley of Madison just said.
Yeah.
Quote, I don't want residents to necessarily pay more, but
I want symmetry. I want symmetry there,
There it is. But it's always, in politician speak, there's always a big old hairy butt right around the corner. Indeed, whenever a politician publicly claims he's not trying to do something, is when he should be most suspected of doing that something.
Absolutely.
Especially when such public appeals are wrapped up in high ideals and spat at common people as though it's common sense. Alabama's Big Ten mayors may claim they're trying to make things more equal through increased taxation, but that is a sure sign that their efforts will do the exact opposite. They say they don't want people to pay more because, in fact, they do want people to pay them more.
Yes.
Despite the conventional wisdom of municipal leaders, taxation is always and forever an unequal affair, whereby those in government say all are equal while behaving as if they are more equal than others. These government arbiters of equality always enjoy unequal power and privilege, always exercised in the name of the common good while always at the unequal expense of certain members of the community. Why? Well, because of the very nature of the state. Mr. Libertarian himself, Murray Rothbard, explains, the state must separate society into two classes or castes, the tax-paying caste and the tax-consuming caste. The tax consumer consists of the full-time bureaucracy and politicians in power, as well as the groups which receive net subsidies, which receive more from the government than they pay to the government.
Right.
These include the receivers of government contracts and government expenditures on goods and services produced in the private sector. It is not always easy to detect the net subsidized in practice, but this caste can always be conceptually identified. One thing we do know without difficulty, however, bureaucrats are net tax consumers. As we pointed out above, bureaucrats cannot pay taxes. Hence, it is inherently impossible for bureaucrats to pay taxes uniformly with everyone else. And therefore, the ideal of uniform taxation for all is an impossible goal. Say, for instance, a bureaucrat who receives $8,000 a year income and then hands $1,500 back to the government is engaging in a mere bookkeeping transaction of no economic importance, aside from the waste of paper and records involved. For he does not and cannot pay taxes, he simply receives $6,500 a year from the tax fund. Furthermore, even if the government does levy a uniform sales tax, it does not affect businesses and consumers equally, nor does it necessarily level the playing field. For instance, I expect the largest online retailers to welcome such a tax, if they haven't already. In fact, Amazon welcomed when all this got set up in 2018.
They sure did.
Because they can easily handle the increased cost of compliance compared to smaller online competitors, all while still having major advantages over brick and mortar shops despite the uniform tax.
And they usually get a little bit of a cut of that money for processing it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Indeed, it is an incredibly uncertain prospect that brick and mortar shops would benefit even marginally from their online competition being taxed 1.25% more. But what is certain is that the people will be forced to pay more to governments whose leaders say they don't necessarily want people to pay more. Some level playing field. If Alabama's Big Ten mayors wish to truly help small brick and mortar shops in their cities, they should embrace the innately unequal, illiberal nature of government rather than continue to sell the lie that uniform taxation somehow magically fosters equality. Rather than increase sales taxes for all taxpayers in Alabama, the state and municipal government should grant tax exemptions to small businesses who choose to invest in their cities. Indeed, the fairest tax for businesses and consumers alike is no tax at all. And seriously, well, that's not fair. No, what would be fair is you want your downtown space. Hey, I'm talking to you, Montgomery. Like, the big stuff's going great. Biscuit's going pretty good. Renaissance Center, like all the hotels being stood up. All that's great. But go look at, like, the shops, like the small business shops. You got a few, but not enough. So if you want that there, like say, hey, if you set up a small business and invest here, we're not going to tax you at all.
That's right. Incentivize it.
Well, they do that with big business. Bass Pro Shops came in. They get to keep part of the tax.
Why is it that they don't do it with the little guys?
Well, because we're providing jobs. No, by the time these jobs are supposedly providing, they're on so much government welfare that we're paying them to be there. So if you really wanted to do something to affect small business, lower their admin fee. Give them a free business license.
Yeah.
You know, it's not about lowering the small business. It's about screwing this you and me because we got no choice.
We're not going to apply the sales tax to you.
You know, they say there's two types of people in the world, the day people and the night people. And it's the night people's job to take the day people's money.
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go, man.
And a loyal listener, Chris V, he sent the Jeff Ford story to me this weekend, and he noticed something. So let me pull up this story real quick, and I'll just hold up my tablet to the camera. It says, Alabama Big Ten mayors renew push to raise online sales tax. 10. And I look at this picture here, and I only see 9. Where's Stephen Reed? I guess he was out of town the day they took the group photo.
Hollywood.
Maybe they didn't tell
Hollywood swinging.
Yeah, man.
Hollywood Stevie Reed. You know, I love when you make a nickname and then like it fits like a glove in the future.
Sure.
Fits like
So stop it, Alabama. And you made the point, Troy, of why, with a conservative supermajority, a Republican supermajority,
it's a conundrum here.
Is there constantly talk of raising taxes? And the major pushes for exempting taxes was a guy we had in the studio not long ago, Anthony Daniels, who's a Democrat, the Democrat minority leader in the state house. He wants to keep that exemption for overtime.
He gets it. He gets it.
And he's got the receipts to prove how it'll work.
So
they're too scared to do it.
But like you said, follow the dollar. Someone's going to profit from it. So that's why we're doing it.
Well, the old way, everybody's still getting paid. When you come in here and change things, somebody might not be getting paid.
And if the mayors like really wanted to sell people, they should just be honest.
Yeah.
Be like, we want more money.
Well,
like just say that.
We want you to do your business, but we want to get more money from it.
So much Alabama leaders have come out and said, we're good with cash right now. We're good with cash. But every time they say that, 5 minutes later, they're expecting more.
It's absurd. It really is absurd. And it makes me wonder, like, what the heck is going on in the state? And in fact, you could say, who's like a net subsidized entity? Maybe the state of Alabama.
I would say it probably,
yeah. We dare defend our rights, and we'll take all the federal money, become the central nerve system of the federal military and intelligence.
That's
right. See, I don't know if I can do this show in the northern part of the state. I would need extra security.
I don't know if you. I can provide that for you. But my thought is, you're right. The thing that you have and that we have is a front row seat with the debacle that goes on down at the State House. Right?
Yes.
I mean, we are coffee breath close to it. They're removed from it, and they're insulated from it with their wonderful little kingdom and fiefdom that they have up there.
Yeah, and I think like what happens is like the guy who gets elected as a state rep or a state senator. Like, people know him. He probably owns a business or something. And, he's a good guy. I know that guy. He sold me my car. He helped me out, stand this thing up. And then after people vote, they don't check on what that good guy is doing after the fact. And I think that's part of our issue in the state is, and you know what? God love Alabama for this. People need to be more aware of what's going on with their government. But I think Alabamians at the end of the day just want to enjoy their lives and pursue their own interest in helping others, their families. Like, they don't want to be constantly having to be political.
But we've learned you have to be.
All right.
You said it best. You have to, I call it Joe Six-Pack. The guy down the road from me with his four-wheel drive pickup truck and his nice little house, he is not incentivized to get involved in anything unless it starts to feel the burn. And I think that's where we got to be. And Alabama's kind of not there yet. But
And another thing in the state, and it's not just the state, but it happens here quite a bit, is the issue is never the issue. Like, you could say, okay, we want legal gambling in the state. And, you could sit, with the best minds and come up with, what abstractly is the best way to legalize gambling? Never will happen.
Nope.
Will never happen in this state. And on every issue, it's that way. It's not about what's the most efficient and sound use of resources, what's the most moral posture and procedure for the government. It's well, whose ox has been gored, who can get a deal, who can scratch the back or worse down there. And in particular, I would say with the Veterans Board here in this state.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of talk of getting rid of it.
Veterans Board, medical marijuana. Look what happened. The people voted. How many years ago was that?
Well, and that's a whole other mess. But I got to hit a break. But when we come back, I want to talk about the op-ed you and Mr. Battaglia wrote up.
Happy to.
1819 News, because you kind of reference that. And again, the issue to me is never the issue. It's not about okay, what's the soundest way to actually go about achieving a certain service. It is, no, who did you make friends with? Who did you piss off? Who do you know? Who can make the trade behind the scenes? And maybe that's politics, but dadgum, it's ugly. And it's not serving the people of this state.
Agreed.
Well, this part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services. Now, that is a business that serves people well. They actually make the issue the issues. What, you got cockroaches? We got ways of getting rid of them. You got ants in the kitchen? You need somebody who's flexible enough to get into that crawl space and also has the stones to be I'm not scared of the dark.
Right.
Because there's a lot of stuff under those houses.
Oh, yeah.
Snakes.
But Pest Pro, they're ready to help you out, whether it's a quick emergency job, could be you do have an infestation that popped up all of a sudden, you got to get rid of it, or it could be just one tested everyday pest control company for your home or your business. And that's Pest Pro Services. They're great, skilled professionals, but they're also local folks. So when you spend your money with Pest Pro and Ashley there at Pest Pro, it's staying in the local community. So call them up today at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or you can always go to ppsrevision.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that team that Joey, that fellow on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
People sure like to mix things up. Gin and tonic, rum and coke, vodka and cranberry juice.
Hello, officer. Is there a problem?
Driver's license and registration, please. Sir, have you been drinking?
But drinking and driving, they just don't mix. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Brought to you by Adeka Letts.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Put the power of Action 8 News in the palm of your hand. Download the free Action 8 News app to stay on top of breaking news wherever you are. Search for WAKA News in your app store to download the Action 8 News app today. Keep your family safe by watching Action 8 News. Look for 8 on your side consumer alerts with product recalls involving cars, food, children's toys, and other items in your home. 8 on your side, keeping you safe only on Action 8 News.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Well, hi, everybody. Our weather is improving as the new week begins and the old year 2024 coming to a close. Today, cloudy skies at first, but then gradually mostly sunny later with a high temperature up to about 67. Tonight, as a front approaches, clouds will be in place, but the rain chance is 20% or less as the front moves through. Overnight low in the low 50s. Cloudy early tomorrow, then gradually mostly sunny. High 68 for Tuesday. That's New Year's Eve. Colder Tuesday night, 41 as the new year begins. New Year's Day noticeably cooler with sunshine, high 57. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations since we began in 1906. At CB&S Bank, we're here for you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Hey, this is Lyle from Margaret's Exquisite Jewelry, and I do my radio advertising on Blue Water. I'll tell you what, I use most of the stations, and I've been using it for so long. It's hard to tell with the money you spend on advertising if it does any good. When they come in and say, I heard you on the radio, I know it's Blue Water, and I love Blue Water.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 334-272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. Again, that's 272-9228. And so where we left off, this gentleman here, Troy Carrico, and your colleague Brian Pataglia, y'all penned an op-ed talking about how Hunter Biden's pardon and its connections to Alabama's Admiral Kent Davis. Right. So let's lay out the long and short of this thing.
For some of your listeners, they may have heard it when the Admiral came on, but the bottom line is this: there's a parallel we feel that eerily mirrors what's going on in D.C. with disservice to the constituents of the good citizens of the state or of the nation, in that you can't. I want to be careful how I say this because I don't want to make light of what happened, but the Biden pardon is a microcosm of how entitlement works in government. Mm-hmm. It's just that simple, y'all. And the thing is, it was never in doubt. It was always in play, even though he said it wasn't. And much like we feel that Governor Ivey and her cronies have done, they are trying to now take over the veterans ABVA, make it a cabinet level position, the director or the commissioner, and then to appoint them solely through the discretion of the governor. How is that going to serve the veterans? You have so many people that are active in VFW and American Legion, Joey, that are appalled. They just, how could this be? Because we know that that's a power move. That's a power move. And what we tried to highlight in this is the Admiral stands for what I consider to be doing the right thing when no one's looking, always erring on the right side. As he said, Troy, if I do that, I never have to go back and think about what I said. And unfortunately, when you're working with thieves, thieves have no honor. There's no honor amongst thieves. And, when someone accuses you of doing something, that's because that's how they think and that's what they do. And so the allegations of mishandling funds by Admiral Davis is nothing more than a ploy to cover up what they've already been doing. And it's sad. And we tried to bring it out. The Admiral took up the fight. He had a lot of pressure against him when he was doing it. We know that the board that selected him for Hunter Biden for appointment was probably pressured heavily from the office of the president or the vice president under Admiral Beck. So we are just following the natural progression that the citizens of Alabama need to know that Kent Davis is a man of principle. He's a man for all seasons, much like Sir Thomas Becket, and principled. And I can tell you this, I've served with a lot of people, guys. There's very few people that I can say I know this man is legitimate and genuine. And I just wanted to tell his story, and that Sergeant Major did as well, because the struggle is not over, guys. And
when it sounds like in this upcoming session, which will be early in this new year, that there really is appetite, at least for some elected leaders, to really do this hostile takeover.
Well, we've been trying to do the numbers on it, and there's a lot that are giving feedback to us and to the Admiral saying, hey, I don't support this. I don't believe this, but I have a feeling this is probably a foregone conclusion. It's going to go through probably in about the third week of February, third week of February. I think it's high on the priority list. And no matter what someone says, it's how they vote in the end. And I can assure you, there will be veterans. There will be veterans present for events to hold their elected officials accountable.
And would you suggest that we have Mr. Battaglia on?
I would, yes, and he would be honored. He is I'm going to tell you, I don't even know how I had a lot of ribbons. I don't even know how he fits them all in his uniform. He's got so many, but he's a great man, great Christian man. And yes, he would be honored to be on here. I've asked him if he would be interested. And I think he can speak more fluently about it because he's been in the ABVA. He was unceremoniously pushed out by the governor because, let's be honest, he called it the way he saw it. He goes, this is garbage. So good man. Yeah, we'll get him on.
Absolutely. Anytime I can talk to a retired Marine, I'm all for it.
Well, they grunt mostly. They don't really talk. They just grunt. But I speak infantry, so
I've mostly been surrounded by Air Force people. What's the rap on them?
Okay, so here's a joke for you. Here's a joke for you. It's quick. So there's a soldier, an Army soldier. There's a Marine, and then there's an Air Force individual. And the Navy is training in desert and arid conditions along the sea line in the Middle East, and they got a training camp. And they've got the soldier, the airman, and they got the Marine. So the Navy instructor goes, "Okay, guys, everybody gather around." He says, okay, here's the situation. Quick, I want your first response. There's a scorpion. It came in, got into your boot. You see it. What do you do with it? The soldier says, I take my other boot and I just smash it. And he said, that's good. And then he said, Marine, what would you do? I pull out my K-bar, I hit it, I flick it right out the tent after I stab it. And he says, okay, hey, Flyboy, what do you do? And he goes, what in the hell am I doing in the middle of a desert in a tent? Because everything's first class. It's like ice cream after every meal, okay? And then they wonder why they have a fat boy problem. Because they play Ultimate Frisbee on Fridays.
And we love all of you who listen.
I love the Air Force. I was saying, it's still the Army Air Corps to me. But, yeah.
Well, I appreciate all the work you're doing, and we're not going to shut up about it here on this program. And again, John Kilpatrick joining us to talk about the work he's been doing for veterans around the state.
Exciting.
A little after 1 o'clock, as well as his experience there on the board. And he was removed by the governor.
Yes,
I kind of want to see at least get his side of the story in regards to why the heck all that happened. 272-9228 if you want to get in on the conversation. That's 334-272-9228. Sticking to Alabama, but tying it into the national issue. As debate rages over H-1B program, the visa program, 273 Alabama companies employ foreign visa workers. It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see here. I'm trying not to do the rehash of all the debate between Musk and Ramaswamy and all the other folks. Though I did post on Twitter today that Elon is greater than Sloppy Steve Bannon. Excuse me, pardon me. I don't mind Sloppy Steve. I'm just saying
he's a better face.
Sometimes Sloppy Steve just gets going, and it's like, dude, like, why are you picking a fight with Elon Musk over this? Like, what? I don't know. I guess that's just in Steve's nature. I've heard some behind-the-scenes story about that guy. But according to the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, Alabama has 1,129 H-1B visas beneficiaries as of September 30th, spread across 273 companies. The University of Alabama at Birmingham, UAB, was the top H-1B employer with 181 employees, followed by Auburn University with 76, and Shipt Incorporated with 63. I guess Shipt is one of those delivery apps that, like, you go, but it's more for like the grocery store or grocery shopping. It's not like a fast food
concierge. Yeah.
The University of Alabama Health Services Foundation took the fourth top spot with 60 beneficiaries of H-1B visas, and the University of Alabama and VT Mobile Aerospace Engineering Incorporated shared fifth place with 51 each. Honestly, that's not a lot. 1,000 jobs in the entire state is not a lot. That's also why I was a little like, why is this debate raging so much? Maybe it's the principle of the thing. But the actual issue, I think it was something like 84,000 jobs nationwide, which is a lot of jobs. But
if you're
that's
unemployed, that's a lot of jobs.
Right. But anyway, I think this is correct. At the end of the day, both Musk and Ramaswamy have said we need to overhaul it and replace the broken program. And folks are acting like they relented from the pressure. It's like, no, they said this like 6 months ago, a year ago. Like, what the heck? Anyway, sometimes this new media environment,
it's weird.
Without a clear like enemy to go after or a clear leader, and say somebody like Trump, they tend to want to eat their own.
It's very disjointed. Yeah.
So I don't know. That's not as bad as I thought. Like when I look at and see the raging, I'm like, okay, 1,000 employees across all these companies in Alabama.
You know, and that's really low if you think about the fact that the Missile Space Center and the Redstone Arsenal up in Huntsville has the highest density of engineers in the entire United States per capita in that county. And I think to myself, that's not that many spread out. So now I'm going to guess in other parts of the country, there is probably a density.
I suspect. So we got some comments rolling in. Wait, Brittany writes, dunces have been tricked into believing the Democrats want communism. They don't. The last thing that people who went to college, have good jobs, want to do is share our money with Trump rubes.
Oh, that hurts.
Well, that's very sweet of you to say,
nice,
Brittany.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. Then
Merry
why
Christmas.
all these redistribution programs?
That's right.
No, and some of the folks out there just have not learned their lesson. Don't you can see on the screen here, Troy, don't say it, but I labeled that one clip about Jen Rubin.
Yes. And I concur.
And I said it because listen to this. And this is like, again, these are folks high on their own farts. Excuse me, pardon me. This was remember George Conway, Kellyanne Conway?
Oh, yeah.
Hubby and now ex,
yeah.
part of the Lincoln Project.
Yeah.
And Jen Rubin are sitting down for a conversation about what happened during the election. Just to give you a taste of the contempt. Let's listen to this.
Why would ABC, Disney, the mouse, who has more money than God, settle with Donald Trump?
Not true.
I honestly don't know.
You know, I've asked, why would ABC? But people ask me all the time.
This is over Georgie Stephanopoulos, little Georgie.
Little George.
15 mil.
Yeah.
Why is the media so mamsy-pamsy? And there are two explanations. One is they are convinced that if they would just move a little bit to the right, all those MAGA readers out there, now you'll notice the contradiction in terms, MAGA readers would pick up the Washington Post and they would have more readers. What is the logical fallacy here? Yes, reader.
Wow. See, and it's that sort of mentality that's just keep talking that way, witch.
Yeah, that's right.
Keep talking that way. And
I wouldn't even say she's creepy. think she's just.
No, she's creepy, man.
You think she's creepy?
She's creepy.
Well, her little carpal tunnel thing she's got on her hands. Makes you wonder if it's just like a foreign object in wrestling, she's gonna come after you with it.
Right. Though, I mean, and it's fun to make fun of your friends. Like I tell Eddie all the time to learn a book. Read every.
Where there's pictures in it, right?
Right.
Like I
yeah.
gave you today.
Yeah, thank you for
You're
that.
welcome. You're welcome.
Give me the art of war, but with the pictorial aids. Yeah. So I kind of know what Sun Tzu's actually talking about here. Yeah, I appreciate that.
You can read.
It's just, really, that's what you got, Jen Rubin? And I think there's a lot of contempt that has not gone away that's going to be continue to be driven. But I think Trump, at the end of the day, is right if he can pull it off. Trump and team can pull it off. Is success brings people together.
Absolutely.
I remember back, being a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. And it started for me when Tony Dungy is there as head coach. Like, Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp and John Lynch and Rondé Barber and Mike Allstott, Warp Dunn, all these great folks. And they don't quite get to the Super Bowl. They do this crazy trade to get John Gruden to come in. And they also pick up like Keyshawn Johnson at receiver, which when I was a kid, I'm like, man, Keyshawn's a man. He is a man.
Man amongst men.
And at mid-season, everybody is fighting with each other. Like Keyshawn's bad-mouthing the coach, and Warren Sapp ain't happy, and all. And then all of a sudden, they go on like a 10-game winning streak, and all that just went away.
Success fixes everything.
Fixes a lot of things.
Fixes everything.
Yeah, and so I think there's a lot of potential pitfalls ahead. It's not going to be easy, especially in the geopolitical realm. We'll see. If Trump can pull it off, that'll be incredible. But if he does pull it off, I think a lot of people, even folks who really badmouth Trump and the whole Trump movement and the populist movement, will either shut up or actually get on board. And I think that's what 2024 shows you, is a lot of folks got on board. A lot of folks. And part of that is saying, I was wrong. Like I've said it many times over these airwaves in 2016, I was wrong.
That's okay.
I didn't vote for Hillary. I didn't vote for anybody for president. Because I also looked at Gary Johnson, and when he was high on Morning Joe, goes, what is Aleppo?
That was that.
I'm like, that
was that.
Like, I'm all for weed legalization, but you can't be high on the campaign trail, Gary.
He's being legitimate. He's being genuine.
Right. Anyway, we got to hit a break. But, Gary Johnson might have really enjoyed, instead of going to the campaign trail, go to like a really good barbecue joint. Like Smokehouse Pit Barbecue.
Every night. Every night a new meal on the road.
Oh, yeah. If you got the munchies, go by Smokehouse Pit Barbecue, not just for their amazing barbecue, 5 brick pits, hand-pulled meats, best barbecue in the river region with the original recipes back there at Smokehouse. But also they have an amazing breakfast. That breakfast, I'm looking at it right now, where like some strips of bacon, some fried eggs, and the cheese grits are absolutely to die for. So whether you're looking for some great in the evening camp stew to warm you up, or a great delicious pulled pork sandwich, or you're looking for a really great country breakfast, they do it right there at Smokehouse Pit Barbecue. You can always check them out on the Book of Faces. Just search Smokehouse Pit Barbecue, or just stop by the same location they've been all these decades. They're at Main Street in Millbrook, and be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, the fellas on the radio, sent you. Hopefully we'll come back with Austin Baranko of Invista Advisors real quick.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment.
Well, the baby liked it. If new floors are on your wish list, bypass the big guy and go right to Prattville Carpet for style, selection, and worry-free installation. Holiday hosting is much more fun with cozy carpets or heartwarming hardwood from your hometown flooring headquarters.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plate, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
And a non-transferable lifetime installation warranty. Get what you really want this Christmas. Shop PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Austin Barenko of Invista Advisors. Hey, Austin, how you doing today?
Oh, having a great Monday, Joey. What about you?
I'm enjoying myself quite well. It's actually looking like a good week as we head into the new year. I guess my question is more a general one, slightly political. What sort of economy are the Biden folks leaving to Trump as he is going to be sworn in on January the 20th?
Oh, yeah, that is a loaded question, but one that we've talked a lot about, so I am prepared to answer. And it's not a good picture. And I don't want to place all the blame on Joe Biden himself, but the state of the economy that he's leaving doesn't have a lot of room for immediate upward mobility. We've got to have the debt ceiling restructured, and we've got to have inflation stopped. And to do those two things is a very political dance. And I think Trump has learned a lot in his 4 years off about how to dance a little bit more in the realm of politics, but he is going to be on, a tight wire trying to keep the economy humming while keeping inflation down and making sure that the government still operates according to plan. So, we've had kind of an unprecedented run up in all major sectors over the last 2 years, but people forget that run up has been bolstered mainly through inflation. And, there's a saying in the industry, I'm sure you've heard it, it applies to other areas of life, but, a rising tide raises all ships. And that's kind of what inflation does, is there's been kind of a price resetting in the economy. And so, when you hold equities or stocks or really any investment and the value of the underlying asset goes up, so does the value of your investment. And that's what inflation has done, is inflated the cost of everything. But the real value of your dollar is diminished when you go to spend that dollar. When you go to the pumps or when you go to the grocery store, the cost of all of these goods that used to be a fraction of what they are now is really hurting the consumer. So to simplify it, I think Biden has left the consumer in a very weak spot. He's basically squeezed every little bit of juice out of the consumer over the last, call it 2 years. And so now the consumer, which typically keeps, the American economy pumping, is beat up. And we're going to have to find, or Trump rather, and his administration are going to have to find ways to keep liquidity in the market without the bottom third of American consumers. And I say the bottom third because the top third is going to be fine. We're the most privileged country in the world. Our high-income earners here tower over high-income earners in other countries. But it's the lower class and the middle class here that have really been hurt, and they typically drive the economy. So he is leaving those people in an exhausted state and really hoping that the Trump administration can find a solution that doesn't involve the middle and lower class carrying the bulk of the weight for the economy over the next 4 years.
It is going to be a very delicate dance, I would say, though. It's a weird combination. I think in day one, they have to come out swinging, and early in the Congress, they have to come out swinging through reconciliation, especially on things like energy costs. Do you think that conventional wisdom that if you drive down, say, the cost of energy, that can help with the entire inflationary picture?
It certainly can, and I think that's an area he'll focus on is, we were a mass exporter of energy under Trump, and then we became an importer under Biden, and it drives costs up domestically when you are having to import. And so I think we'll get back to drilling again and exporting again, which should help domestic price of energy come down. That'll definitely help the middle and the lower class. So I think that's a great area to start. And if we've seen and learned anything from Trump's negotiation style, what you just said is hitting the nail on the head. He likes to go in hard and heavy at the front and ask for something that is impossible to get. But when they settle on something, it's way more than you ever thought you would get as well. And so I think we'll see a little bit of that strategy as soon as he gets sworn into office again, is he is going to make some very hard asks of various people throughout Congress and in his administration, but we'll see him walk those back a little bit as they settle on agreements. But that's what I've learned, throughout the last 4 years of his tenure, and he's had a couple years off to learn how to play the game a little better. So I'm hopeful that his tactics will be a little bit more refined, because this isn't like it was when he first got in. Everyone was riding the wave. Wow, this guy is not a politician, is calling shots, but he's not really that anymore. He is a politician, and he's been in the cycle for 10 years almost, and so he should have learned enough now to know that there are games that can be played and those that can't. And I think he'll shy away from the ones that can't and focus on really doing what he does have control over, and hopefully it's to our benefit.
Well, and folks, if you want your own personalized strategy, you need to go with Invista Advisors to help you with that long-term planning to preserve wealth, to manage risk. It's not only your investments, it can also be, just quality of life things and the different stages of life. And just call them up at 387-0094. Again, whether you're an individual running a household or you're a business and need some consulting there, or maybe running a nonprofit or endowment of some sort, Invista Advisors can help you out. When you call up 387-0094, be sure to tell them, hey, I heard Austin Branco on the radio with that Joey guy.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Joey. And I guess I'll talk to you on air next year.
Next year on Friday, we'll be chatting. Look forward to it.
Thanks, Joey. See ya.
Again, folks, that's Austin Branco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. A federal appeals court has upheld a jury's finding in a civil case that Donald Trump sexually assaulted a columnist in an upscale department store dressing room in the mid-1990s. The Second U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals issued a written opinion upholding the $5 million award that the Manhattan jury had granted E. Jean Carroll. President-elect Trump endorsing House Speaker Mike Johnson as he prepares to fight to keep his role leading Republicans in Congress. And the signal of support from Mr. Trump comes despite his frustration with the spending bill Johnson pushed through the House days before Christmas that failed to achieve his central goal of raising the debt limit. On Wall Street, stocks have been sharply lower, the Dow dropping 268 points, the NASDAQ Composite 132 points in the red. This is SRN News.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at EnduranceWarranty.com. Auto repair bills are through the roof. $3,000 to replace the transmission. $4,000 for a blown engine. And if your manufacturer's warranty is expired, you'll have to cover it all out of pocket. You need an Endurance Auto Protection Plan. No matter what the mileage, if your car is under 20 years old, Endurance can get you covered on the engine, electrical system, transmission, AC, drivetrain, and more. Endurance has plans for any budget. Repairs can be done at the certified mechanic of your choice, and they're paid directly with no middleman. Plans cover 24/7 roadside assistance, towing, battery jumps, fuel deliveries, tire changes, lockout services, and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Act now and get our elite benefits, including complete tire care and key fob replacement. A $2,000 value at no extra cost. With Endurance, you could never pay for covered auto repairs again, so call now for your free quote.
Call 800-498-2843. 800-498-2843. 800-498-2843.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, in stock specials on waterproof luxury vinyl plank and engineered hardwood flooring at blowout sale prices. H&H Carpet, across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Well, hi, everybody. Our weather is improving as the new week begins and the old year 2024 coming to a close. Today, cloudy skies at first, but then gradually mostly sunny later, with a high temperature up to about 67. Tonight, as a front approaches, clouds will be in place, but the rain chance is 20% or less as the front moves through. Overnight low in the low 50s. Cloudy early tomorrow, then gradually mostly sunny. High 68 for Tuesday. That's New Year's Eve. Colder Tuesday night, 41 as the new year begins. New Year's Day noticeably cooler with sunshine, high 57. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. Get 0% financing up to 48 months with approved credit. Now on select Kubota track loaders and excavators. Get a Kubota. Now through December 31st, 2024. See Capital Tractor Montgomery and Brundage or KubotaUSA.com for details.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. Residents are picking up the pieces after a powerful line of storms pushed through the area late Saturday night into Sunday morning. Trees are down across the Pike Road community and some property damage has been reported. The Spring Valley and Woodley Road area in Montgomery also reports damage. However, no deaths or injuries have been reported in central Alabama. The Salvation Army Church in Montgomery was burglarized on Christmas. The break-in was discovered over the weekend, but it appears to have taken place on the evening of December 25th. Thieves took the flat-screen televisions, speakers, and sound system from the church on Highland Avenue without tripping the alarm. The city of Montgomery will be celebrating the 2025 New Year in style. Food, vendors, and live music will be happening at Riverfront Park from 10 p.m. to midnight on New Year's Eve. The 2025 Downtown Countdown will feature DJ Wright and True the Star, plus fireworks when the clock strikes midnight. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Of course, we're calling the show online, Joey Clark Live. Eddie's still in studio, as is Troy Carrico. And joining us now, we have Colonel John Kilpatrick with Vets Recover. How are you today, sir?
Hey, I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me. How you guys?
Yeah. Thank you for being on. And so I kind of want to just begin with the basic question. Tell folks about your organization, Vets Recover.
Yeah, we started kind of out of my own recovery experience. So I've been in the military now almost 39 years, combat veteran in the Marine Corps. Got out, got my commission in the Army as a medical service corps officer and have done healthcare operations, 4 more deployments, a tour at the Pentagon. But after Desert Storm, I struggled like a lot of combat veterans do, and with alcohol mainly. Got sober in 1996, and really have kind of spent my whole, ever since then, just trying to help the next guy, the next person find the recovery that I found. And just got kind of frustrated that, we could get them to the VA, but there was usually a waiting list, or they didn't have a spot, or they weren't qualified. There were so many barriers to getting treatment. And so after, several years in 2015, we just decided to do it ourselves. And so we started, the official name is Veterans Recovery Resources. We've kind of shortened it to Vets Recover. But we started Veteran Cover for that primary purpose, to remove barriers to care, to help service members, veterans, and we've expanded it to first responders to get the care they need.
Now, and it sounds like you've found great success. I'm looking at a picture of the building, the hospital, while y'all renovated it and set this thing up in the Mobile area. It's just remarkable. And here's where I'm coming from. Obviously, it's personal details, so I won't say it all in there. I just know from firsthand experience with friends of mine, veterans I know who have substance abuse issues, and they tried in the Montgomery area, especially with the VA. And it was not only unsuccessful, it's just tragic, especially somebody who's like right on the bubble there, needing that help before they go off the deep end. So how much success, and like, I'd imagine you have a hospital and facility and treatment facility there in Mobile. I think there's one in Birmingham. What is the vision for success for you?
Yeah, so we basically have 3 programs. So we've got an outpatient program about 2-3 years ago, in 2021, we received a $4 million direct federal grant from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Care Administration to implement the Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic model, so the CCBHC model, which was really our model to begin with. So it's integrated healthcare where the veteran, first responder, their family, they come in the clinic and they get everything they need. So if they got a mental health issue, they get mental health treatment. If they got a substance use issue, they get that. They also get primary care and all the wraparound social services, case management, that sort of thing. So that's our outpatient program. Then the new building that you talked about, that's our residential program. So we opened that. We did our grand opening in April of 24, and we took our first patients in June. And in our residential program, we've got 3 levels of care. So the highest level of care is 3.7D, and that's medically monitored detox. So that's the highest level of addiction treatment. So we can literally keep people alive on life support while they're coming off and their body's reacting to not using drugs and alcohol. So that's detox. And then we've got 2 levels of residential care. So that's, your typical 28-day treatment, residential treatment, high intensity. And they get about 24 to 30 hours of programming a week, and they live here on site. And we're licensed right now for 16 beds for level 3.7 and 3.5. And we've got another 8 beds for expansion. So that's the residential program. And then I think where kind of the rubber meets the road is our community integration program, because that's the goal. The goal is not to, be in treatment or to, this is just to stop the bleeding, restore the breathing, treat for shock, and get them out into the community. And the way we do that is by building community. And our community integration program is run by a wonderful woman. She's Melissa McKnight. She has a master's degree in public health. And it's really a public health approach to building community. And we do that through training, education, and a lot of recreation. So we've got a scuba program, we've got outdoor activities, we do kayaking, hiking, fishing, boating, whatever you want to do, we probably have a group doing it. And we try to incorporate all of that into our program. But the secret sauce is peer support. So the key, you can look at every study that's ever been published about veterans' mental health, veteran well-being, and it all boils down to one thing: a veteran needs another veteran to help them. Period. End of story. And that's what we've done. So our program was created by veterans. I'm a veteran. Most of the people that work here are veterans. We're a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Our board is made up entirely of veterans. So everybody has served and everybody's done it. And then there's a lot of us, many of us here, who are also in recovery. And so to be a veteran peer support specialist at Veteran Cover, you've got to have 2 years in recovery. And that could be from a mental health diagnosis or a substance use. So our program, we call it a peer-led program. So we are providing the highest level of clinical care. But every step of the way, there's a veteran right there who's been through it, who can walk you through it, talk you through it. It does so many things. The main thing it does is build trust. So you don't have to be, our doctors, our psychologists, many of them are not veterans, but they're trained in veteran cultural competency. Right. They know the difference between a soldier and a Marine or a sailor and a Marine. And so they've been trained in that cultural competency. And then they have our veteran peers who really serve as that trust broker and can kind of help folks through the process.
You know, John, this is Troy. I've heard, and I've heard it from so many people, how many lives you've touched and how hard it was to get to where you're at. There was not a lot of, let's just say there was subterfuge going on behind the scenes, even, and you know this, and we can talk about this in a minute. Admiral Kent Davis has the highest regard for you and what you've done, because he said, Troy, I've seen what they tried to do to him, and he just kept coming back. And it's a testimony to your perseverance, to your persistence, but also to your personal and principled convictions to help other veterans. And God bless you. And I'm telling you, I'd like you to speak just for a moment on that, if you would, about some of the challenges.
I appreciate it. And I tell you, man, I've worked in Army medical operations at the highest level. I mean, I've literally moved entire armies around the world. I've worked at the Pentagon on literally worldwide healthcare operations. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. It's incredible to see the need and to set out to, you know, we spent almost 2 years from 2015 to 17 just getting the lay of the land, figuring out who's doing what, what's working, what's not working. Let's not duplicate anything that's working. You know, we paid folks to do a feasibility study to figure out what we needed. And it took us 2 years to get a certificate of need to open the first medically monitored detox facility south of Birmingham. And, you know, I don't take any of this stuff personally. I mean, for me, the mission is personal because my own personal recovery depends on it. And so my life depends on me helping the next veteran. So that's just me. But, you know, it's just business. You know, when you've got a system that a lot of folks profit from, when someone comes in with a solution that they've not done, it's threatening. And so, you know, people do what people do. And we just keep doing what we've been doing since almost, I mean, May will be our 10-year anniversary. Talking about the number of folks we've served. I mean, we just in our community integration program this year, we've served almost 8,000 people. So these are veterans, first responders, and their families. In our outpatient treatment, we serve, you know, somewhere around 800 to 1,000 people a year in our outpatient treatment program. In our residential program, you know, the numbers are really small, but these are the folks who are killing themselves. These are the folks who are dying on the street of overdose or taking their lives by suicide. And so, you know, we're right on the cusp of getting all the accreditations that we need. We've got all our state certifications for our outpatient and all three of our inpatient programs. And we're right on the cusp of being able to really open this thing wide open. So we've been running our residential program at about 25%. So just keeping the numbers low, making sure we can deliver, because we don't ever want to do something or say we're going to do something until we know we can do it. And so we like to test, we like to prove, we like to get outside folks to evaluate our services, and it works. I mean, I've seen it. There's not a week that goes by that I don't get 2 or 3 phone calls from a family member or a veteran, you know, telling me that we saved their life, and I can see it. I see it every day.
Again, folks, we're talking to Colonel John Kilpatrick, founder, CEO of Vets Recover. And, you know, I hate to say this, Colonel, but the first time I saw your name in the press and in my world was after the governor removed you off the State Board of Veterans Affairs. And I would love if you have your side of the story you want to tell it that. If not, I understand. But what I like about this is even after that, you know, being publicly removed, it sounds like you're still trucking, like you're still very much engaged with wanting to work with whoever you can work with to continue to expand and offer this throughout the state.
Yeah, and I can tell you I'm very proud of the work I did on the State Board of Veterans Affairs. And the only reason I pursued a place on the Board of Veterans Affairs is because of my understanding and everything that I know veterans are going to solve this problem. And I thought that the Board of Veterans Affairs and the Department of Veterans Affairs was the right place to develop solutions. And that's the only reason I put myself there. And And if you look at my record, every bit of work that I did on that board was about making sure that veterans have access to this $800 million of opioid settlement funds, making sure that we've got a mental health care system that closes the gap, really, for veterans. And one thing that's real important is veterans' mental health is really not the state's responsibility. So, I mean, we can give a lot of grief to the Department of Mental Health and others, but this is a federal problem. We've got really one thing in our Constitution, two things: collect taxes, provide for the defense, and caring for our veterans is a constitutional obligation of our country. We've got so many folks that fall through the gaps that are not qualified, or they haven't gone through the hoops to get their VA benefits. But our goal is to build a model that works, and it should be funded by the federal government. I mean, this should be funded by the VA. And that's not a knock on the federal VA. I mean, I know a lot of people, myself included, they get great health care at the VA. But there are a lot of folks who don't, for whatever reason. They can't get there. They don't know about it. They're not qualified. And so organizations like Vets Recover, we're really just here to close the gap, or to help folks get there. We're not the long-term solution. The first thing we do with a veteran when they show up here, get them enrolled in VA healthcare.
Yeah, and I want to, before we keep going here, I want to kind of stop for a second and focus on the unique struggle of veterans when it comes to mental health issues and substance abuse. Because I know there is a mental health problems beyond the veteran community, and some focus on social media, substance abuse problems, the opioid crisis affected all, but it does seem particularly acute in the veterans community. And as somebody who didn't serve and who's not a veteran, I'm just wondering what is particularly unique to the veterans' experience in this country to where that issue is so acute.
Yeah, that's a pretty complicated question, and there's about 5 answers. But I will tell you that I've done a lot of research, a lot of studies. I've worked on 2 national suicide studies. I went back to school after my 2015-16 deployment and got my master's in social work, and have really studied this. There's a great study that the RAND Corporation did in 2014, and the VA paid them, I think, like $6 million to figure out why veterans don't use the VA healthcare system. Number one reason, the veteran. Number 2 reason, the VA. And that's kind of funny, but we are a hard-headed bunch. We are the problem solvers, so we don't need your help. We don't want your help. You come to us for help. We're not, we don't need you. So there's a lot of, call it pride, stubbornness, whatever you want to call it, but we are very hesitant to ask for help. When we ask for help, that's where the system breaks down, because we don't really know how to access it. And so we're asking for help, but then the help doesn't come because we haven't clicked the right button or asked the right person. And then we go, well, see, nobody cares. And so it's kind of a strong problem. But the root of the problem is based in warriors and war. And you can read Homer. This is thousands of years, ever since there was war. Communities send their men and women to war, and the war changes the warrior, and it changes the people and the communities that sent them. And so just like, when we come back from war, our community doesn't recognize us or know how to relate to us, and we don't recognize our community or know how to relate to them. So it's really a communications problem.
John, I want to say something with my struggles, and I have not shared these with you, but I had my share of them too. But I was up in D.C. At the time working as a civilian with the Corps of Engineers, but I found my behavior to be really cavalier in a lot of ways, and I realized my marriage was falling apart. I was deploying constantly, coming back for 6 months, back down range. But you kind of hit the nail on the head, Joey. It's because of our warrior ethos. It's because of our culture that we like John said, we're the nation destroyers. We're the problem solvers. And the thing is, self-medication happens at a very, very, very heavy clip in the military, because, hey, When I was with Rangers, I was getting methamphetamine. I was getting amphetamine, green meanies. You know what I'm talking about. They gave us to them on missions. And I'm saying, then you wonder why guys are addicted to speed or whatever it is. And the thing is, I want to say another thing that I think bears mentioning here. You know, I'd like your opinion on, I see the studies, I see the numbers, 425,000 veterans in the state of Alabama. There's so many veterans, John, that you know this, that do not identify or show up on those rosters because they didn't go through the system. I can point to 3 of my friends. They said, I only served 4 years. I don't deserve anything. Bull. That's total bull. You've earned it.
It really is, and I think it's really just about the language that we use, to really get the benefits that we're entitled to. The VA, we got to claim to be disabled.
Oh.
I mean, that's a terrible title. I mean, most disabled veterans that I know are fully able. They just, that's the only way the federal VA has to compensate us for the pain in the behind that we had to deal with to get where we are. So there's that, but then I think the Hollywood and the movies and it's just people's misunderstanding of who we are and what we are. For so many years, there's been this broken veteran narrative, and that's just a bunch of bull. I mean, hell, you got to diagnose someone with a disorder in order to get paid by insurance. I don't believe there's post-traumatic stress disorder. I think humans experience trauma and have a perfectly human reaction to it, which now we have to call disorder. I'm not disordered. The world is disordered. I'm just having a perfectly human reaction to it. And then you couple that with my Marine Corps training, my Army training, and then it looks disordered. But it's really
chaos.
It's a normal human reaction to some really, inhumane things, to be honest. So it's really just about communication. And that's why, we put so much effort and time into our peer support and community programs. That's the bulk of what we do there is training. And it's really training other mental health providers about how to talk to veterans, training the community in just cultural competency. I remember when we were trying to find a place to put our treatment center, and this neighborhood was up in arms. We don't want these veteran now in our neighborhood. What do these people look like? And I was there in a coat and tie. I'm like, well, they look like me. I'm the guy. And so there's just a lot of misunderstanding, misconception, and to be honest, I mean, we do a lot of it to ourselves. We're knuckleheads, we're hard-headed, we're stubborn, and we don't like to ask for help. But we're here so that when a veteran, first responder, service member asks for help, they get it immediately. That's the bottom line. Because man, it takes so much courage to ask for help, especially when you are, somebody like me. It just takes a lot of courage to ask for help. And when you ask, I mean, we better deliver. And that's our mission here, is to remove the barriers.
Well, and I love your focus on the community and on the peer aspect and staying in touch and providing support after, say, somebody gets through withdrawal. A chemical hook is one thing, and alcohol and opioids can certainly be very dangerous to withdraw from. But it seems like the psychological hook is what sticks with people even after you get them through these sort of emergency treatments or even, say, a month-long treatment. And that you're right. You said earlier we have an obligation to help the vets as a nation, and I think that's 100% true. So I guess my next question is, what does the future look like for Vets Recover? And if there's somebody out there listening, I'd imagine you already have some folks here in the Montgomery area, but if somebody's out there listening, hearing this for the first time, how can they help you with that future?
Yeah, the future is really bright for Vets Recover. I mean, we're going to continue to help the next guy, the next lady, the next veteran, the next service member, the next first responder, the next family member. So we do several things to kind of make sure that folks can get to us. I mean, the number one barrier is I didn't know who to call and I didn't know where to go and what to do. So we staff our phone 24 hours a day. Most times a veteran's going to answer the phone. And so, we kind of run a crisis line. You can call anytime, 24 hours a day, and you're going to get a veteran on the phone, a veteran in Alabama who understands whatever it is you're going through. So, I like to say if you're a veteran who is struggling, or a family member, give us a call. We can probably help or point you to somebody who can. If you're a veteran living your best life, striving, thriving, call us. We need your help. It's that simple. We have put together a model of care that creates an entire continuum from peer support in the community, which is a non-clinical. You don't need a diagnosis. You don't need anything. You just need to talk to somebody. From that all the way up to the highest level of addiction and mental health care available. The only thing that we don't do is, treat someone who has a serious mental illness, somewhere where they need to be in a mental health facility for some time. But, pretty much everything in between, we've got a continuum of care. And once you get in, you never get to leave. Like, we keep you here. We keep you engaged. We're going to take you, we do art, we do music, we do equine therapy, we do hiking, camping, fishing, scuba diving. And all of that is just a result from, we had this when we first started. This is probably 2018 or so. One of the first guys we treated in our outpatient clinic, and this guy was a special forces operator. Thousands of days in country, and it took about a year really to get the nightmare stopped. And I'll never forget the day he came in. And he's like, "Wow, well, the nightmares are stopped. Now what do I dream about?" That's what community integration is about, where you've got folks that have been struggling for so long, and now they see the light. They got a mission. They got a purpose, and they want to know what's next. And almost 99 out of 100 want to know, how can I help the next guy?
Beautiful. Well, I appreciate your time today, sir, and I appreciate what you're doing to help folks out here in our own backyard and across the state. Did we leave anything out? I would encourage folks to go to vetsrecover.org.
Yeah.
And a lot of the information is there. It's vetsrecover.org. And again, I really appreciate your time today, John.
Yeah, I appreciate it, Joey. Thanks for having me on. Thanks, Troy, for the introduction.
You're welcome, brother.
Anytime, man. I'm happy to talk. I love this stuff. I live it every day. I'm living my recovery. We got veterans in our program here. It's just beautiful. It's a great life. It's not the life I thought I'd have. I joined the Marine Corps at 17, and I was already an alcoholic. so, I didn't expect to live past 30, so I'm on this time already. So we sure appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all getting the message out. And, there are a lot of veterans in Alabama, and so many of them are thriving and doing great things and running businesses and contributing. If you're not, give us a call. I'm sure we can help get you on the right path. So our phone number is 251-405-3677. And the website, you said, is vetsrecover.org.
Well, thank you, sir, and God bless.
I'll give you a call after the show, Joe.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Again, folks, that is John Kilpatrick. Really great having him here on the program. And, it really hit home that this is, because you can think of the idea as like, okay, you just get the medical treatment done and out the door. And that's not at all. That's in fact what is kind of the problem, is you treat a person like a number real quick, in, out, in, out, in, out. And where's the community that holds people together?
I say this real fast. When you come back in the Army from a combat deployment, you have to go through about 12 stations, finance, turn in equipment, all this stuff. And the very last one is mental health assessment. And they're standing between you and your loved one over there. And so many soldiers, so many Marines say, everything's fine. Everything's good. I'm good.
Right.
I'm great. I just need to get back to the real world. And that's where it breaks down at. And that's why you got to have the support like John provides. So,
well, y'all check it out. Again, it's vetsrecover.org, or you can call them at 251-405-3677. We got to hit a break, but first, this part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and his team are ready to help you out with that roof of yours. Could be an asphalt or metal roof. Either needs to be inspected on a regular basis. In fact, Eddie, you've had them inspect both asphalt and metal roofs for you.
Oh, yeah, multiple times, and they've done a wonderful job each and every time. Even done repairs for me. They give me a great estimate. Even had them work with a client in their insurance claim. Held her hand through the whole project.
All right.
And she was, and she still is to this day, very thrilled that she was able to use them.
And again, folks, inspections and estimates are always free with River Region Contracting. As Eddie just said, they're insurance specialists, so they'll walk you through that claims process, make it a swift, easy, even pleasurable experience. They're just that good.
Right.
It's not normally something you're going to think of when you're dealing with an insurance company.
Exactly.
But go with River Region Contracting today, at least for a basic inspection to give you peace of mind that your roof's all right. 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell Todd and the team that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your updated end-of-the-year market report for 2024. By the end of this year, the MLS in the River Region will have approximately 5,000 home sales closed. Almost 60% of all listings are selling on an average of 60 days or less, which is a good news for a seller and not surprising if you've been looking for a home lately. Predictions through Realtor.com about the coming year will be an overall better year for both buyers and sellers. To buy a home in this market, here's what you will need. Number one, a strong buyer advocate that will find a good selection of homes for you to view now. Number two, someone with a strong negotiation background. Three, someone with over 47 years in real estate concerning contracts, financing options, and closing houses. For the best buying and selling experience, call the expert. Call Bo Goodson at 221-2883 or 551-0225. That's 221-2883, the Goodson Group.
What'll it be, Joe?
Coffee and apple pie. Whoa, Madge, what was that?
The lights? Oh, they always dim when the dishwasher turns on.
You should call Crosby Electric.
You think?
Overloaded circuits at your business can be dangerous. The experts at Crosby Electric can upgrade your electrical service to safely handle the load. And they can add receptacles where needed to eliminate overuse of extension cords.
Madge, I'd like to pay you. The problem is it's so dark in here I can't read my bill.
No, the problem is you're cheap.
Well, that's a problem too.
Effective, attractive lighting is essential for any business. Crosby Electric can help with a new lighting scheme that will give your business a fresh, exciting look. And they can recommend outdoor lighting for greater safety and security.
That'll be $4.50 for the coffee and pie, Joe.
Well, don't I get anything for recommending Crosby Electric?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Don't put off essential electrical upgrades for your business. Call 272-2085 or visit crosbyelectric.com.
Start your day a better way with Action 8 News Rising. Get your first look at news happening today, plus your latest forecast and live traffic reports. Don't settle for the same old morning newscast. Watch Action 8 News Rising, weekday mornings starting at 4:30. Don't know an iPhone from a flip phone? You need to watch Action 8 News. Consumer technology reporter Jamie Tucker keeps you on top of the latest technology and keeps you safe from scams and identity thieves. Watch What the Tech, only on Action 8 News.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Well, hi, everybody. Our weather is improving as the new week begins and the old year 2024 coming to a close. Today, cloudy skies at first, but then gradually mostly sunny later with a high temperature up to about 67. Tonight, as a front approaches, Clouds will be in place, but the rain chance is 20% or less as the front moves through. Overnight low in the low 50s. Cloudy early tomorrow, then gradually mostly sunny. High 68 for Tuesday. That's New Year's Eve. Colder Tuesday night, 41 as the new year begins. New Year's Day noticeably cooler with sunshine, high 57. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Do appreciate John Kilpatrick joining us. And, it got me thinking, too, that beyond just the focus, I think it's a unique issue with the veterans community. You look just nationwide, all different age groups.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people just living alone. When you talk about the community aspect, like it is remarkable the amount of people right now living alone, especially older folks.
Yeah.
It's remarkable, like how many young kids, especially young girls, are now having some of the worst mental health outcomes ever recorded. Jonathan Haidt's done a lot of work on this, saying in particular teenage girls have seen this massive drop in decline, and it's manifesting itself in all sorts of ways. And it makes me wonder also, when you look at just homelessness in general, like it is not humane, and it's also not about freedom or liberty to let folks just rot on the streets. And, I know we have small encampments here in town, but, go to New Orleans, go to Atlanta. I can't imagine Los Angeles, for instance. How is, in this day and age, with the technology and the wealth we have, we're letting people live this way? Now, it's one thing if it's somebody who's like actually not mentally insane and not addicted to drugs, they're just an odd bird and they want to kind of live homeless. But that's an entirely tiny amount of people compared. And it's got me wondering, like, where did we drop the ball? Was it wrong to shut down, say, the big mental hospitals? But then you look at horror stories that came out of some of those older practices. So I don't know. I don't know what the answer is in that regard. I think some of it is getting back to the basics.
I wanted to ask him, but he was clearly, we were out of time, but how did he feel about the governor's move to absorb the ABVA into a cabinet level position? How could that, he said it's about, the government's really not the primary giver of help. So why is the governor making a power move to take that? Because it's people like John that get stuff done. And I can tell you, it's a scary thought, and I hope that if anyone's listening out there, you ask your representatives and legislators if you intend to vote on that, because taking away that right of independence for the veterans community is going to be critical going forward. And I have a feeling it's not going to turn out well if we don't get involved. So,
well, I think what the state needs is a vigorous executive. And obviously, I'm not calling for a king of Alabama or anything, but what I mean is somebody who's younger, high energy, has sort of the vision to say, we're going to completely streamline Alabama government, and we're going to get things out of the way so people like John or anybody else in any other field can prosper. When he said, for instance, how long it took to get because of the certificate of need laws.
Crazy.
And we look at the issues with, not having enough medical care just in general around the state. One of these days, I just have to do a deep dive on the mental health thing, because I've looked at some of the literature, especially with like teenagers and social media's effects, but I need to do a deeper dive into the history of how they shut down, say, the mental hospitals. And I know, who did that? Was that Wallace who did that here?
Wallace,
yeah. It's an issue that's not going away, and I think there are a lot of folks from different angles paying attention, thank God, at this point.
Well, you think we got it bad here, and we do. But then you see these pictures out of like Philadelphia, places like that, where it's just blocks and blocks of
zombies.
And I can't imagine living in that environment, but I also can't imagine having to go by that every day and just accept that as your new normal.
Right. Well, I got a cousin who lives up there, and she loves Philly.
Yeah.
But I've been like, you ever go over there? No.
I got no need to go.
No,
to the
you just
zombie
don't go to
land.
the. I go to the arena for the Taylor Swift concert, but I'm not like
Right. But it's hard, especially seeing that going. We are the United States. These are things I used to see in other third world countries, not here at all.
And it's counterintuitive, like you said, guys. Is how could we find ourselves at the pinnacle of human development, societal advancements, and looks like we're retrograding. We're going backwards. And I think there's probably a slippery slope there that when you think of it philosophically, spiritually, mentally, physically, that there is a negative return on certain investments. And I think self-absorption and the self-absorbed nature of modern world contributes to this.
But my thing is, what would you do? I mean, let's literally say that they had a block of zombies.
Yeah.
All right. 50% of them want to be helped. What do we want to do with the other 50? And that's the problem. Nobody wants to be honest and go, well, look, I hate saying it, but there's a certain amount of people that are not going to go in our society one way or the other. We've got to house them. We've got to do something else. But we're letting them out to do damage in the public and the subways and things like that.
Yeah, you detain them.
Huge.
That's what you do.
Right. Yeah, but that's a huge.
It's a very straightforward idea.
But no one wants to get that. Right. You get the bleeding hearts that go, no, we can't. Well, then let them come live with you.
What about Logan's Run?
There you go.
Good movie.
Great.
A modest proposal. It's just a modest proposal. That's all it is.
Just a modest.
Got some support.
Just we might try that thing.
We'll talk about that offline.
It's just frustrating. It's just frustrating knowing that we are in this land of so much bounty.
Plenty, yeah.
But we'll just accept the fact, hey, I can't help him. I'm just gonna let him go.
Well, and I think some of what's happened is in my ideal world, the federal government would, well, probably not exist, but let's say it does just basic like national security, very general things like basic upholding of like the Bill of Rights. Right. Most of what people now associate with government should, I think, be done by almost like competing clubs.
Yeah.
And essentially it's like you can not join a group and good luck.
Right.
But if you really want like that health service, if you really want that community like safety net, all this stuff, you need to join one of these competing clubs that are competing for you to join. And then the idea would be the people managing that club is, we need to have enough money to operate, but the main goal is to make sure every single one of our club members is taken care of and they're flourishing.
And see, we got that. We got the money and all, but we're just not doing the whole.
Well, and people associate that idea now with government, or they associate maybe your business is big enough, but I think we've lost something. It used to be that way in this age.
Do you know where I think it's at, guys? Is the demographics of our country has changed so drastically that the idea, listen, where I grew up in Ohio, and they had it in Alabama too, out in Pitlala, the Grange. Have you ever heard of the Grange? The Grange was a social organization that was a benevolent organization for farmers that when someone got hurt, the money was in there. You didn't go to the government. Right. You went to the Grange, and you're a member of the Grange. And so we've lost that kind of, for the lack of a better term, Americana is no longer Chautauqua anymore as it used to be. And it's how do we fix that? Do we? Right. I'm of the opinion that you need to serve. I don't care whether it's in the civil service corps, whatever. You need 2 years of service, so you got skin in the game going forward. If you did that, I mean, because colleges we're seeing now, so many are going to be closing. I don't know if you saw the article, and they just can't keep up with it. And the thing is, go serve in the Peace Corps, go serve in USAID, go serve in the Corps of Engineers, do whatever it is, but get your hands dirty. And get some skin in the game.
Yeah, I did actually do an interview with AmeriCorps to go work with kids in Manchester, New Hampshire. But then they asked me like who my influences were, and I quoted Ayn Rand, and they didn't give me a call back.
No Che Guevara. Okay.
Yeah. No, if I had probably quoted Che or Mao, they'd be like, "Come on,
Ayn Rand." No. You're what? They're like, keep an eye on that guy.
Oh, well, we got another break here. In a second, I want to get into a little bit of this Catherine Herridge report. It is a CIA whistleblower saying the government is gaslighting when America's national security agencies betray their own operatives. You're already laughing.
That's what they do. They eat their young. Yeah. I mean, that's what Lou told you a couple weeks ago,
But this former intelligence officer claims career-ending injuries caused by foreign-directed energy weapons.
I believe it.
leaked Defense Department letter acknowledges the injuries and experiences that these are real. Quote, it's a cover-up. It should be terrifying for all Americans. So this is it's kind of an interview with this whistleblower. We'll have to get into it in the next hour when we have a little bit more time. Because you're right. It's much easier to just be like, deny, and let the problem go away.
Take your clearance away like they did her. And now you find yourself not able to be gainfully employed at the agency. So.
Well, this part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage, and they're at Alabama Home Mortgage. They're ready to help you out, whether you're looking to buy a home in this new year or looking to refinance that home. And, they have veterans in their blood. They're at Alabama Home Mortgage,
Sure do.
and they specialize and are very proud of the fact they know the latest with the VA home loan programs. Now, a lot of folks think of the medical side of the VA and what. No, they can have an incredible turnaround time through these VA home loan programs. I think the average is like 16 days.
It is, and there's multiple loans you could get. People think you just get one. No, you
Right.
can if you want to do an investment property.
Yeah, there are a lot of folks that don't know exactly what benefits they earn through their service.
Absolutely.
And Kim and Madeline do there at Alabama Home Mortgage. And so again, whether it's a refinance deal, maybe to get credit card debt off your back or any sort of debt, restructure your finances, or it could be you're ready to go. You want to buy a home and you need to go ahead and get pre-approved and have Kim and Madeline by your side going through that process. Call them today at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim and Madeline. Prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the river region. Call us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For more information, send an email to digital@bluewaterbroadcasting.com.
Is your business feeling the heat of cyber attacks? Tired of worrying about ransomware, data breaches, downtime, and employee mistakes? GTI Managed IT Solutions has been your trusted partner since 1999, safeguarding and supporting businesses like yours from the ever-evolving threats in the digital world. GTI, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 819-4650 or visit gtinow.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are y'all?
Oh, we're all right here. What's the score there today, Cohen?
35-3.
Ooh.
I tell you, we have been inundated with customers that are coming in ready to get their equipment installed. I don't know if it's due to football games basketball games. I mean, you got both teams doing really great with basketball, but everybody has been trying to come in and make a purchase and get it installed ASAP.
Well,
Michael Jackson has his hands full.
I was about to say, but man, if you haven't seen Michael Jacks, the guy who could deliver to you, install for you, seen that guy in action, man, there's no question he's a true pro.
That's right. And I can't tell you how many people ask, does he deliver is there an extra delivery fee? Is there an extra this? Is there an extra that? And I'm like, he comes out, he brings it, he installs it, and he'll tweak on your network and everything else to make sure everything works the way that it should for the television.
Oh, no, he was ready when y'all sold me that 85-inch TV. And he shows up, he installs it. He was ready to, like, help me sign into every one of the apps. I'm like, I'm 35. I can handle this. But it's like, that's how far he'll go. He'll sit with you. He'll make sure everything's exactly right before he leaves to your satisfaction. And it's that sort of...
And he does that for selfish reasons.
He doesn't want to come back.
He doesn't want to set up Netflix, and you're going to do it, and then you have to call him, and then and then you need him to come back. So he wants to get it done right the first time.
Well, folks, the great products there at Cohen's, whether on the electronics kind of fun side or the appliance side, or all sorts of grilling options, they really do have it all there. Y'all's building is deceptively big.
Oh yeah,
it really is.
Well, when we bought it 100 years ago, you bought it by the foot, and it's by how many feet were on the bypass.
That's right.
And I think we got 100 of them.
So y'all get by there today. You can always shop from home at thinkcohens.com, or if you already know what you want, just call them up at 277-8890. But stop by 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery, and be sure to find Michael. Be like, hey, I heard you on that radio show with Joey and that Eddie fella.
Yeah, the Eddie fella. You know, Eddie's got a lot of work to do.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, for the next year, he's trying to figure out which days he can work.
Oh, he hadn't even told me.
If Michael's busted me working on my calendar.
I don't think he knows yet. He's going to have to figure out how much he can get by with.
That's where I was going with that, Michael. Thank you for blowing me out of the water.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm here for you.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir.
Well, thanks, Michael.
See you, man.
All right. Y'all have a great day.
You too, bud.
And Eric, I used to know this guy, just moved back in Montgomery and still know him. But best talk show on the air, he says, I'm going to hit up Dylan Rings to do some repairs for me. Well, Thank you for that, Eric. Really appreciate you going by our sponsors, and thanks for the compliment. Yeah, I mean, I think our show's pretty good, but it's more like, how do we get this thing expanded? And when we're working on it.
We're working on it. I think we have some very good avenues to do that.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's pretty much the best show I know of for you guys, and for me. So
I agree.
Thank you for that.
I'm very humbled too, and I think you are too, Joey. Outstanding work.
Yeah, humble, or is it imposter syndrome?
You can do that. You can do that if you want. We've got a good thing, and we can expand this. There's people that want to know and want to hear.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes you look at the media environment, and you're like, you sure you want to do that? You sure you want your name to be known by all these crazies out there? But it's like, yeah, exactly. You can get to know a lot of great folks too at the same time,
Sure,
and then just ignore the comments after the fact. Oh
Best
man,
thing to do.
there's always that one comment that isn't just odd, that like does sting
a little bit.
That's like, ooh,
that's funny.
Lives rent free in your head for a few days.
Like he's not blinking enough, or he's blinking too much, or something. And you're like, oh, what? Really? Do I do that?
Right. Yeah, yeah. There are a few that still are up there.
Have there been a few that?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, Romex Angler fat shamed me into losing 30 pounds. Well,
thank God he did it, because look at you now.
Thank you. I'm working on inspiration, buddy.
Fighting machine.
I doubt that.
You look good.
Anyway, enough of the introspection and me fishing for compliments. I mean, do you do the whole resolutions thing?
You know what? This year I am. I have resolved to always live my best life, but I fail at that miserably. This year, my wife and we've got a few things that we're going to get in order. I've got a lot going on between teaching class online and working with the Admiral on projects, and it's just I've got time management. You know, time is the most valuable resource we have.
Yep.
You can never get it more of it.
Right.
And if I choose to spend it, then it better be really, really important to me. And I think I've found myself being stretched too thin, so I'm going to work on that.
Do you got any resolutions?
Yeah, I've got some. We're going to try to live a little bit simpler life. Got a little bit
simpler life.
Yeah. Well, you nailed it when you said
That's
spread
right.
thin. Just I'm spread from one side of the state to the other, and I got to reel it in. I'm getting old.
So I'm on the opposite front, where it's like I'd probably need to go on more adventures.
You need to
Yes,
get out.
you do.
You need to
You're,
get out
you-
more.
well, that's the whole reason I want to reel mine in, is so I can start living again instead
Start
of just
living
chasing.
again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that aspirational note, we got to hit this top of the hour break. Final hour coming up.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. The nation mourns former President Jimmy Carter, who has died. He was 100 years old and had spent roughly 22 months in hospice care. The Georgia peanut farmer served one term in the White House before building a reputation as a global humanitarian and a champion of democracy. Republicans in Congress plan to move quickly in their effort to overhaul the nation's voting procedures. Seeing an opportunity with control of the White House and both chambers of Congress, they want to push through long-sought changes such as voter ID and proof of citizenship requirements. They say those measures are needed to restore public confidence in elections. Stocks remain lower, the Dow dropping 285 points, the Nasdaq Composite down 144. This is SRN News.
Right now, with an important alert, home title fraud is one of the fastest growing white-collar crimes in the country. Criminals can make millions on your house without you even knowing it. Michael, you were one of those criminals?
Yeah, that's right. I was responsible for about $16 million in equity theft and title fraud.
Wow.
And to be honest, it was easy to do. It's just paperwork. So by the time you find out what's happening, the equity in your home is already gone.
So how do you keep your property and equity safe? For more, here's Action News reporter Ron Stevens.
Well, Monica, an in-depth investigation found there's actually just one company that prevents this type of crime from happening: Equity Protect. Equity Protect scans, monitors, alerts, and most importantly, protects you from any attempts to tamper with or steal your home equity and ownership 24 hours a day. Other companies merely monitor. Equity Protect stops the crime from happening. Find out if you're already a victim or take a free risk assessment today at equityprotect.com. That's equityprotect.com.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where over-the-road dump truck drivers are needed right now. Home twice a week and every weekend. Must leave early on Sunday with Blue Cross Blue Shield. Call them now at 855-777-9785.
Well, hi, everybody. Our weather is improving as the new week begins and the old year 2024 coming to a close. Today, cloudy skies at first, but then gradually mostly sunny later, with a high temperature up to about 67. Tonight, as a front approaches, clouds will be in place, but the rain chance is 20% or less as the front moves through. Overnight low in the low 50s. Cloudy early tomorrow, then gradually mostly sunny. High 68 for Tuesday. That's New Year's Eve. Colder Tuesday night, 41 as the new year begins. New Year's Day noticeably cooler with sunshine, high 57. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Thank you for voting ASC Credit Union the best credit union in the River Region 6 years in a row. As we celebrate our 70th anniversary, we are proud to be at the top of the list for the best credit union in the hearts of the communities we serve.
1819 News.
The National Weather Service confirms that there was a touchdown of a second tornado in Alabama after severe storms entered the state this past weekend. That second tornado was an EF1 that hit in Lamar County near County Road 34. The first confirmed tornado touched down in Athens on the same day. The NWS will conduct a fuller assessment of the damage this week in parts of the state that saw severe damage from the winds. 2 teams are headed to Lowndes, Montgomery, Macon, Shelby, and St. Clair counties. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Some of the greatest blessings is just having people that care about you. To have someone that's just going to love you and make you feel important. They encourage you to be in church. They encourage you to be in prayer. They encourage you to be in your Bible. Now it's a part of my day every day. my house parents planted seeds in me that you can see where those seeds have sprouted in my life and helped change my life.
Big Oak Ranch, a Christian home for children needing a chance.
A Deesville man is in trouble with federal prosecutors for the embezzlement of money and the use of those embezzled funds. James Wohlers was fired from his job in Anchorage, Alaska back in 2019. Now Wohlers is accused of using the funds that he embezzled from that company to travel to China to adopt a child, buy a boat for Lake Martin, and send money to a church here in Alabama. The federal charges against Wohlers comes after a 2019 audit of the GBR Equipment Oilfield Services where he worked. A woman is under arrest in Huntsville for shooting through a door at another person during a domestic dispute. 63-year-old Teresa Schuler was arrested on Sunday after a man was injured by the gunfire. Authorities say the two were arguing when the man barricaded himself inside a bedroom, and Schuler is accused of firing into that room. She is charged with domestic abuse and assault. I'm Andrea Tyson.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The key ingredient is something called Tesnor, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PEC to 321-321 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast. Absolutely free. Text PEC to 321-321. That's PEC to 321-321.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader's the one there wearing the helicopter hoodie, and Troy Carrico here in the studio wearing the leather jacket. I'm, of course, wearing my 1819 News Alabama flag hat.
It's actually goat skin.
It's goat skin?
Yeah, it's from Italy. From
That
Italy.
is
Yeah,
nice.
It's nice. I got this.
Nice
It's very, very supple.
Yeah.
My wife dresses me, so I told you that before.
Well, I mean, you know how, like, you really have married up.
Oh,
Like,
listen, I outkick my coverage. and you know, the thing is, it's beautiful because she sees through, I guess she sees my faults, even as a veteran. I've been through a lot of things with her, but I want to tell you, one day I'll tell you our story, how we met. But the bottom line is this: it's easy when God puts the right people in your life and you're prepared to receive it.
Amen.
Amen. Now, a clip that I thought I was going to play, but it's too long. But I want to start with this. It's the former national security advisor for Trump, Robert O'Brien. And he is coming out saying, no, Trump's very serious about the Panama Canal and Greenland. I think, by the way, there was a headline that the capital of Greenland was like minus 27 degrees. That's ridiculous.
Greenland is not green and Iceland's not icy.
Right.
So, like,
Very true.
A lot of folks see the Greenland thing and the Panama Canal thing, they roll their eyes, but you take this pretty
It's
seriously.
very critical. It's the projection of key PowerPoints throughout our most immediate hemisphere. More importantly, the next fight's going to be over the Arctic, over rare earth minerals. And that Greenland we've always had Thule Air Base there.
Mm-hmm.
We've always had that charter with them. But having it as a staging area, Joey, is critical. And then let's be honest, it's not just the transcontinental or transocean traffic on the Panama Canal. You got to get it out of the hands of the Chinese.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's
problem.
up.
I think that was the
that's
line
the
they should have
problem.
crossed.
That's yeah.
Because if you had an emergency in the Pacific and you need to move, they
You're
could
gonna have
shut
to go
it
to
down.
war.
Shut it down right then and there.
Yeah.
That's critical infrastructure.
And this is what I love about Trump. Folks are like, oh, he's crazy, man. He's just being, Donnie from Queens. He's being that talk radio caller. Like, I would like to take Greenland. Let's take Greenland. Why not? And yet, though it's like, oh, there's Trump being crazy. It's like, no, there is a very
moving the ball.
Long-term vision to his madness, and including the trolling of Canada. I think it's going to work beautifully.
That's so good, yeah.
The 51st state,
sure.
Governor Trudeau. And hopefully Trudeau is out before too long. Because I didn't realize this. Like, some of our poor states would be, like, well, Alabama's richer because of the northern part of the state, but like Mississippi's...
West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all of Canada, like Canada is not up there with the poorest of our states. Which is crazy. It should be.
So heavily taxed, too.
And
Well, that's just it. Real estate, everything up there. It's as blue can be.
Right. But they have the resources. They really do have the know-how and the population, and yet they've gone down this weird
handicapped them.
socialist...
Same thing they've done here in the U.S. They've
Experiment.
handicapped us. We've got everything under the sun, but our leaders have turned around and handicapped us.
Yeah.
Same thing that happened to them.
Especially with Trudeau. And hopefully that Pierre Polyev, I think is the guy's name, he gets into
Or the great
power.
one.
Yeah, that'd be good.
You can let Gretzky in there.
Oh, yeah, Trump did say
That's great.
He wants Wayne Gretzky to run for prime minister.
That's a good thought.
Or governor.
The governor would be a great governor.
And have you seen his wife? She's hot.
Smoking.
I'm like, yeah, he's the great one.
Smoking.
He's the great one.
I'd be disappointed if he wasn't.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Papa B.
Hey, Papa B.
Hey, guys. Well, I'm looking forward to the year. I don't know about y'all.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready to get this ball rolling here. But it's kind of interesting to look back over the last year or so and, think about what we've seen, with a case of OCD, ADD, ADHD, and a healthy dose of dyslexia. There's all kinds of things that I see, some of which are nonsense, and others, maybe there's something to it. Who knows? But, I have seen some things that kind of raise questions, and maybe say, well, maybe there's something going on there. I guess we'll see as the great Dan Marsh say in the fullest of time.
Indeed.
Well, one thing that, you'll humor me here a minute, there's one thing that the federal government, our federal government, is very, very good at, and that is disinformation and misinformation. The shuck and jive show, I call it. And boy, do they excel at it. In wartime, there's none better. None better. I'll give you a prime example. Do you remember when they were taking Fallujah over in Iraq? Do you remember when they had that military operation?
Yeah, I sure do.
Now, one thing they did, which was I found so funny, is they did this little deal where they were going to do a head-on charge, smoke billowing, guitars blasting in the background. Here they come, buddy, they're coming in, and up, they stop. Well, in the meantime, they were collecting data, who was going where, what machine guns or what, ordinances were being marshaled. It was just to see what was going on. I mean, they did that just as a, to punk them, basically.
That's called reconnaissance by force, and you're right.
Yeah.
And that's what we're talking about. You can do that. Yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, as I said, there's none better than the United States. It's something like this. They know what they're doing. This is an aside. One thing I found so funny was just shortly thereafter, at night, they released one armored vehicle And it just went straight down through the middle of town, shooting up everything. And on the side of it, they had painted War Pig.
So so Papa B, I was over there with the 3rd Infantry, and when Fallujah was going on, I rolled across the berm in 2003 out of Kuwait, and we did the lightning run to Baghdad in less than a week, and engaged five heavy Soviet-style armored and motorized rifle divisions with one brigade. One brigade, brother. And you're right. And I remember looking out over in my night vision gear and seeing people fleeing out of T-72 tanks, T-62 tanks, and I thought to myself, and they would bury them into the sand, Papa B. They had the turrets just deflated in there, and we were still putting sabots straight through that thing, and it was amazing. And I thought to myself, Russia and China is taking note right now and saying, let's don't line up straight head to head with armor.
There's no question of it. And so, literally, the American forces have the other forces. They don't know whether to scratch their wash or wind their butt. Okay? It's a beauty to watch. But, all of that kind of, I don't know if we'll call it technology or just, our abilities. They translated it down into the political realm, okay? And we have been under an assault. I've talked about it before, but I would call it an insurgency. And as a point of strategery, the way to defeat an insurgency is a counterinsurgency.
That's right.
And that is what Trump has been doing this whole time. He's been messing with their brain, baby. One of the things that I find funny, I'm getting to my point right now. I don't know if y'all remember, and I'm sure you do, this whole big old thing that Trump did for like 2 weeks. I've got a big announcement.
Yes.
Lord, I've got a big, oh my God, it's going to be huge. And I mean, he had the whole world fixated on the edge of their seat about this big old announcement. And it comes out in digital card.
Yeah.
Well, in the meantime, and you can look this up if you want to, but President Bush, President Clinton, and President Obama were all in one bunker waiting for this announcement. There was some recon going on with Trump and company. They were seeing what happened, just like the Fallujah deal. I promise you. They were going to say, what are they going to do? Because I want to tell you something. These cats know that Trump has the goods on a lot of people. Now, whether it's on them specifically or not, probably so. But they were there, I believe, because they were getting ready to counter him with all of this big media. No, he's a deranged lunatic and blah, 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 blah. But in the meantime, this was a psyop.
That's what I was getting ready to say. This is psychological operations, civil affairs, kind of. It's asymmetric warfare, counterinsurgency. Yep. All of this blends in against. There is a real enemy out there, and they've had control of the airwaves for a while, haven't they? And now it seems weird reading the news, doesn't it, Papa B? It's like, where are you all at now? Where are you at now?
Well, and I remember that day when the big announcement came, Trump digital trading cards, get them before they sell. Oh, wait, they already sold that. Sorry, loser. You gotta
get up quicker.
Oh, no, and then...
he had even like Steve Bannon, we gotta have somebody serious. This can't be real, I mean, it's like, dude, can you not see what's going on? Are you for real? Are you just that stupid? Come on now. There's things happening here.
Well, and some of the merch was just great on its own. Like the Trump tennis shoes, or you can get a special edition photo of my mugshot with a portion of the suit I was wearing that day.
I love it.
And you're right. It's all this show distracts folks or gets folks to move in a particular way where Trump's very much paying attention. The documentary that I can't remember the name of it, but it was the one done. They were embedded with the Trump campaign This it was, I think, loosely affiliated with Tucker Carlson. And so they're behind the scenes. They're there in Butler, Pennsylvania. But some of the most revealing stuff is like Trump just sitting there watching Kamala's DNC speech.
Oh, yeah.
And you can see like how it's not a crazy man tweeting.
No.
It is a smooth operator going, working with a team of people.
Baby.
Yeah.
A very stable team.
Yeah.
I promise.
Right.
And not only, the other one was that I really liked was the late great Hannibal Lecter. Now, where did that come from? All of a sudden he's Hannibal Lecter. What are you talking about, Trump? There's some people that have done some really bad things. And there's some people that really know they've done some really bad things, and he just throws that out there. That is psychological warfare, I promise you, because it gets people that need to be panicked.
Heart of the
There's some cover-up
Heart of the
stuff
surge.
going on. I'm telling you what, I believe that we're going to find some things out. I hope so. But in the meantime, I promise you, I am enjoying the spectacle. My OCD,
And a Happy New Year.
Self. Yeah, baby. All right, guys. Well, listen, thanks a lot.
All right.
Appreciate it, Papa B.
Thank you, buddy.
See you, Papa B.
No, that was kind of a winding road to get to the point, but actually I enjoyed the trip. That was a fun journey.
Daddy's almost home. He's almost home. His headlights coming down the street.
No, seriously, he is. He's going to change the game, I think.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about it.
A very stable genius.
Yeah, indeed. Very stable
humble
genius. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Now, we previewed this at the end of last hour. Let's get to a little bit of it here. Oh, yeah.
Cracked me up this weekend.
Biden was saying,
I didn't beat it.
who crapped my pants?
Let me touch your hair. Let me smell your hair, China. Yes.
No, there's a great, one of my favorite of the compilation. And I mean, it's an awful thing, like how hands he is and
he's
sniffing hair and stuff. But it's Jeff Sessions being sworn in again in the Senate. And you can see Biden reach to do this to his granddaughter, I believe, and Sessions smacks him hard. Like, it wasn't just a quick, like, brush aside. He, hit his hand
That's
really
great.
hard.
I didn't see that.
And you're like, especially Sessions, who always came across as pretty prim and proper and well put together, like, reacting that way. Man, what a creep. Like, that guy.
But yeah, when I heard that this weekend, that at that point, I wish Trump would have called him and said, well, why don't we go and do one more debate? Winner take all, you and me.
Yeah, double or nothing.
Right.
We beat Medicare.
We get 8. I get 4 more years.
Right.
No, that's when Biden was dead politically. He goes, we beat Medicare. And Trump goes, yep, you beat it, Joe. You beat it to death.
Beat it to death, my man.
I love it.
And then when they get into the golf conversation, I'm like, okay, this old fart is done. Completely done.
So do you think, though, that he realizes that a good chunk of America thinks he's the worst president to ever
I don't
been our president?
think that he really
See, I don't
cognizant of that.
I don't either. I think that
when people believe in what they believe in, and let's be honest, he is a true highwayman, is what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he never really worked a day in his life, if you think about it. He's been on the payroll of the public.
Oh, the government team.
He knows what's best for us.
So instead of going to the Catherine Herridge report, I'm calling an audible. Thank you for seeing.
Yes, I just saw it.
Biden believes he should have stayed in the race.
I wish he would have.
Here's a compilation of confident predictions that Trump would be intimidated by Biden's debating prowess. So that he wouldn't show up.
Oh, yeah, I remember the wouldn't show up.
Or if Trump did take part, Biden would kick his ass. Or even if Biden did not do well, just appearing and not drooling would ensure victory. So let's go down memory lane. It all starts with the raging Cajun James Carville with those preachy females in our party.
He looks like he's transgender.
Yes, big time.
Let's listen.
Yeah, I'm a gambler. Yeah. I'd take even money if Trump doesn't show up. Okay, I just think...
You don't think Trump's coming next week?
No, I mean, I don't know. But if I was, I think he's going to wake up and say and decide. He's just like he said he was going to testify in his defense of this trial. He put on a defense. Let him show up. I wouldn't be shocked, but I certainly would not be surprised. If you gave me even money, I'd say he's a no-show.
What Carville said, some Democrats have been saying all along, this idea that they feel like Trump will be the one to back out of this.
But the odds are, I would bet that he goes haywire during the debate when his microphone is shut off.
But his aides may tell us, like, oh, he's going to be a good boy and stick to a good script and have a robust policy debate. Yeah, I've heard that line before.
Meaning Trump is heading into a debate when the party is not entirely unified behind him. That much is clear. I mean, are we entirely sure he will even show up?
the Trump campaign's made a huge mistake by setting expectations so low. And if Joe Biden goes out and he's anything less than looking like he's been hanging out under a bridge and drinking and doing drugs all night, like he really probably is going to have a victory.
And they were just wrong.
What do you know? But nobody got to throw it in their face. I wanted the newsman at their door that next morning. Hey, you want to, redo that statement you said? Remember? Here, let's play it again with you watching it with me.
So, if I may, the song you were playing in the background is Baby Elephant Walk by Henry Mancini. You're going to thank me, listeners, because many of you want to know what that song is when you hear it, but it's called Baby Elephant Walk. And there you go.
By Henry Mancini.
Yep, Henry Mancini.
Mancini. Okay. All right.
Cartoon.
It's always good. And people go, what's that song? I can never find it. I don't know what it is.
It's just like, especially when you go back down memory lane with some of these. Like, here's Chuck Todd.
Here's it.
First off, they've said for weeks, Joe Biden is senile. He's got dementia.
Rick
He can
Wilson.
barely walk or talk. And Biden, as he shows up at the State of the Union addresses, Correspondence Center, NATO speeches, big things, Biden does a good performance. If he goes in there and just doesn't drool on himself, Donald Trump loses the debate.
Yeah. And any single moment could go viral, especially the way even innocent moments, not undamaging moments like at the G7 are, faked and
Here's another thing to
edited out of
remember.
context.
All these people knew how bad Biden was. They all knew it.
Right.
So, again, I want to be asking them the question. So at what point did you know your lie was up? When he first opened his mouth, or did it take?
No, as soon as the debate happened.
Right.
No, I think
I want him to have to answer these questions.
I think before the debate even happened, the fix was in. That they all knew we're going to turn on this guy after this debate.
Think about it. They tried to shape the media story narrative the whole time.
Yeah.
This is Trump's last stand.
Yeah.
He's done after this lawsuit. He's gone.
Yep.
And it's like, give me a break, man. He's a survivor.
Yeah, like I said, or you said just a second ago, Daddy's almost home.
Almost home. Almost home. Yeah, but he's coming.
And the effects on world leaders, on domestic politic
world
folks, and
governments.
all sorts of. My favorite was Macron. Yeah, like, no, Daddy, don't do it, Daddy. Don't beat me again, Daddy, with your tariff stick. I won't, Emmanuel, if you. No, I'm not even gonna. Don't do it, Daddy. But
Uncle JD will be coming over too. They'll be drinking, carrying on in the backyard. Yeah, they're going to be having a good time.
Well, and this
shooting weapons, everything.
And this whole like let's drive a wedge between Trump and Elon Musk. Like,
You gotta try something.
good luck with
They
that.
have a bromance. They've got a bromance going on. You can't break that.
So here's a little, we'll get into this more in the next segment, but this is Catherine Herridge. It's a segment she calls Government Gaslighting, when America's national security agencies betray their own operatives.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You mean all that time I was at DIA, they weren't screwing me? Or Lou?
Yeah.
Shit.
Good luck.
Let's listen.
You were attacked.
Yes.
You were attacked by an energy weapon.
Yes, a directed energy weapon.
The intelligence community has attempted to thwart congressional investigative efforts to uncover the truth at every turn. I mean, that sounds like a government cover-up.
It's a cover-up, and it's terrifying, and it should be terrifying to all Americans.
The new congressional report found it appears increasingly likely that a foreign adversary is behind these injuries. Vertigo.
Yes.
Eye tracking issues.
Yes.
Traumatic brain injuries. Did the CIA gaslight you?
Me and every other HIV victim. It was designed to make us think ourselves are crazy and question our own injuries.
Is it reasonable to think that the intelligence community doesn't want to acknowledge a foreign adversary?
Yes.
This Defense Department letter is significant.
Yes.
We believe your experiences are real. What explains this disconnect? We have a Defense Department letter, and yet the intelligence community, the CIA, says there's nothing to see here.
The brave people of the Department of Defense willing to stand up to the CIA. If they're politicizing this, what else are they not telling the president?
Everything.
And that's scary.
And that's just the preview for the whole interview. But it does remind me of like Lou's story, trying to figure things out. And I'm sure there's stories I haven't heard where it's a pretty common thing.
It's here's the deal. And when I saw the initial report there on this, the IC, which is the DNI, the Director of National Intelligence, is really not The emperor's got no clothes in that position. Okay, it's the heads of it's the heads of the bureaus, it's the heads of the agencies, and they all have a fiefdom, and they all have drug deals with each other. And you could be a mid-level operator like I was and Lou was, and then I get up to GS-15 level, and now I've got people under me, a lot of people under me at that point, and I make tough decisions. But I quickly find out that this is the way we say we're doing it. This is the way we're going to do it.
Oh,
and if you deviate from that, there will be ramifications. And I crossed swords many times, and Lou did too. Lou was jettisoned. I was jettisoned because we started asking questions. And the thing is this: there's a lot of people that live very cushy lives, that are intelligence operators and all this stuff. They got nice jobs, and they don't mind one bit propagating their own perpetuity and at your expense. And we have a saying: they eat their young. We eat our young.
Do you think there's an element, and I'm sure this is a lot of folks, I'm just paying the mortgage, and a very expensive mortgage, but do you think there's an element of almost sadistic? Like some people, no, I'm not saying it's even a lot, but are there some of those folks that just enjoy reigning over others?
There are sadists out there, but here's what I think more. I think they're self-righteous and self-important in that I've got a secret nobody else knows, and there's stuff that I know that you will never know, and I know all. And, they condescending. It's rare to find someone of any ilk that is of good character, in my opinion, that sets, because what happens is you're in a toxic environment, guys. Where you work at, it's a SCIF, that's a secured compartment information facility. It's no windows. It's very toxic. Everybody's up on one another, and things carry over. So you get this kind of almost malaise, this kind of jadedness about humanity. And then you're dealing with some of the worst people in the world. So you kind of lose your humanity to a degree.
You ever think about going to real estate?
Well, why should I?
Why should I? Similar experiences you're preaching there, buddy.
Well, I mean, it's this. And the thing with the intelligence community is this: most people live in the shadows. They don't really get to share. They don't get to decompress. So they got their own little trauma going on. It's a lot different when you're kicking down doors like I did in Iraq and Afghanistan. And the thing is, I have a penchant for the intelligence community in that they do wonderful things, the some of the best and some of the worst that you will find in service, and some of them are very, very much sadist, I would say. I've had supervisors that would step all over you and just chew you up and spit you out, man.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of hinted at the old Lord Acton line that power corrupts an absolute, power corrupts absolutely. I'm forgetting who added the addendum. It might be Mark Thornton, Dr. Mark Thornton of Auburn University, where his Mises Institute, and he said, so power corrupts absolute, power corrupts absolutely, and power also attracts the already corrupted.
That's right.
They're like, oh, wait, I get paid and the rights and impunity to do certain things?
They have empires. They have little empires, and they really do. And they don't answer to the people that you think are in charge of them. So,
well, we got to hit another break. But first, this part of the program brought to you by Sweet Creek Farm Market. And there at Sweet Creek, you need to stop by and see Reed Ingram and the team there. They have an incredible place out there at Sweet Creek. It's a beautiful property. It's not just a great place for going to their award-winning cafe, getting a great, delicious lunch, or shop that fresh produce they're bringing in on a regular basis. Baked goods from hubcap-sized cookies, bigger than your face, to the layer cakes they have out there. Oh, they're so good.
Fat pills.
So good.
Good stuff.
And if you're thinking about like some of those classic jellies, Jameson preserves that like you might remember back, they have them.
Nice.
They have a huge selection, of course, unique, hard to find Alabama-made products, and one of the largest selections of locally grown pecans. Things like roasted and salted pecans, honey roasted classic pralines, chocolate honey baked, even creamy white chocolate. And they're just a wonderful place for all this. But just go spend a Saturday with the kids out there. You got little kids, they got a whole playground area. Get yourself a nice warm coffee or a sandwich. Let the kids play. It's a wonderful just atmosphere. And Reed Ingram has put together a great establishment. So check them out today. You can always go to Sweet Creek on the Book of Faces. Just search for them on Facebook. Or, again, just stop by 2 miles south of Taylor Road on Highway 231 and tell Reed Ingram that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, from the moment we pick up the phone, you will hear the difference. We are passionate about what we do. To us, you're not just another applicant. When you call on us, you are trusting that we have your best interest at heart, and we do. We treat our customers like family, and that's why our customers turn into family, coming back to us time and time again. We know you have many options when it comes to mortgage financing, and we appreciate the opportunity to earn your business. We are excited to hear from you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our passion is just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586 368, Equal Housing Lender.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com. This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hello, everyone. Robbie Pelt with Capital City Roofing. If you think about it, your home is your biggest investment in life. Your roof covers your home, so why jeopardize your biggest investment on a roofer you don't know anything about when you can deal with a reputable roofing company like Capital City Roofing? We have an A+ Better Business rating and the best manufacturers and workmanship warranties available. We do all residential and commercial roofing applications that are certified through the manufacturer to ensure you get the best material and workmanship money can buy. We also have your project in our best interest before and after construction has been done. Don't hesitate to call us if you have any roofing issues or questions. We will match any of our competitors' price and give you the same great workmanship warranty. We also give free estimates. Give us a call today and let us show you the difference. 277-3311. That's 277-3311. Or you can check us out on the web at www.capitalcityroofing.com. Capital City Roofing. We capitalize the roofing industry.
Hi, this is Carl Schmidt, naturopath and owner of the Herb Shop. Listen every Saturday to Winning Wellness and learn from experts in different fields of science and technology how nutritional supplements can help you.
Listen to Winning Wellness every Saturday at 10 a.m.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets in stock specials on waterproof luxury vinyl plank and engineered hardwood flooring at blowout sale prices. H&H Carpet across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Rich Thomas Weather. We've got a frontal system on the way late tonight and early tomorrow as the rain chances are just about zero. So tonight, relatively uneventful, overnight low temperature in the lower 50s. Tomorrow, we start off with clouds and end up with a mostly sunny day later with a high around 68 on New Year's Eve, down to about 41 on New Year's Eve night. And then as 2025 begins Wednesday, much cooler air with a high only 57 for Wednesday with mostly sunny skies. We'll get down to freezing by Wednesday night. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. Get a Kubota RTV with a $2,000 instant rebate or 0% APR, up to 48 months with approved credit. Get a Kubota now through December 31st, 2024. See Capital Tractor Montgomery and Brundage or KubotaUSA.com for details.
The River Region's News Talk Station. News Talk 93.1, WACV. News Talk 93.1.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. I was just telling war stories.
They're good.
No, it's more comedy. At the
It's
end
not.
of
It's
the day.
dark comedy.
Yeah, well, you want to hear dark comedy? Listen to this guy's life.
Oh,
We're good.
We're good. It's New Year. We're gonna have a new slate.
That's right.
New slate.
New
We're all
slate.
good.
All
New
sunny.
So,
At least the first 5 minutes.
in front of me, I've got this list put together by the Federalist. The top 10 hoaxes the propaganda press peddled in 2024. Should we go down
Yeah,
this
I think
thing?
that's a good one. Yeah.
So, number 10, bloodbath.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Don't say that, Joey.
Taking Trump's remarks out of context is one of the legacy media's favorite pastimes. And March's bloodbath non-controversy was no exception. Speaking to rally-goers in Ohio, the former and soon-to-be president warned that the U.S. automobile industry would face an economic bloodbath if Democrats won the White House in 2024. Media acolytes quickly jumped on the former president's comments, which they distorted to make appear as if Trump was threatening a literal bloodbath if he lost the race. Yeah, it's stuff like that where you're like, it's just not true.
Right. Not even
guys.
close. Not even close.
Now, number 9, war on SCOTUS. While Democrat mouthpieces ProPublica kickstarted a media war in the Supreme Court last year with the smear attacks on Thomas and Alito, the New York Times took its hysteria to a whole new level. In May, the outlet fabricated a controversy about an upside-down American flag flown at the Virginia residence of Alito and his wife, which the outlet claimed was a symbol adopted by some Stop the Steal protesters. On January 6, 2021, Justice Alito told the paper that he had no involvement whatsoever in flying the flag, but that it was placed there by his wife to protest a neighbor's profane yard signs. And by the way, Alito's wife is hilarious. Like, she is outspoken and doesn't give a
She don't
damn.
give a crap, man.
Wow. It's okay. I forgot about that one. But number 8, hiding Biden's cognitive decline. I can't believe that's only number 8.
Really?
But that, I mean, we just talked about it a second
that's
ago.
A given now. Yeah.
And how long did they know? I think they knew from the get-go.
From the get-go. That's
Yeah.
not something that
If he
snuck
wins,
up on him
if he
overnight.
wins, then we're
Right. And that's
Now you
exactly
got the
what their
puppet
attitude was.
masters.
As long as he wins, we're good.
Well, and the question was always, is getting Biden, pulling him across the finish line to become president, was that a sign of the regime's weakness or strength? And I think now in hindsight, it's a sign of their weakness.
Absolutely, it is.
They had nothing else.
They had no one in their bullpen. No,
Nothing.
that they could lean on.
That was their best, and that showed that was their best candidates.
Bernie.
Those two.
I mean,
come on.
No. Project 2025.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's such a
I still hear that every once in a while.
subversive organization.
Yeah,
we're so
yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be like the Handmaid's Tale.
I know. It's just,
You're right.
Yep.
Border czar. What's a border czar? After Democrat oligarchs orchestrated a silent coup to replace Biden with Harris, the media jumped into action to cover up the vice president's myriad failures, including her role as border czar. To hide Harris's incompetence from voters, left-wing journos pretend Biden never tapped her to oversee the invasion of the U.S.-Mexico border. Left-wing rags like Axios went as far as to claim Harris never actually had the border czar moniker, despite the outlet itself repeatedly referring to her as such in previous articles.
She didn't officially take the job. She just took the pay.
One, how about this one? These are the ones, and I actually did a whole op-ed where I didn't use my own words. I just quoted Gold Star Families because this is the Arlington Cemetery visit that anonymously sourced a hit piece attacking the former president. This was NPR who did it. They attacked him for visiting Arlington National Cemetery at the request of Gold Star Families. The smear campaign was aimed at fomenting a controversy about Trump's team taking photos and videos of the former president's visit alongside loved ones of those killed during Biden's disastrous Afghan withdrawal in 2021. Media hoax didn't sit well with the Gold Star Families, and that's what I quoted. They all put out like Twitter videos just saying, how dare you even go here with this?
But the press never acknowledges that, do they?
Right.
Just let that go.
Right. Well, it's like Vince McMahon back when he ran the WWE. It's like, I don't care if you were Dusty Rhodes down in the South in Florida Championship Wrestling.
Yeah.
We're going to put you in polka dots.
Right.
Like,
Right.
You're a brand new character now. Show me the garbage. Legacy media propagandists had their hands full in the closing days of the 2024 election after Biden referred to tens of millions of Americans
That's right. It's garbage.
who voted for Trump as garbage.
We are garbage.
Now, of course, I love it because I'm a big Kill Tony fan. And this all starts with Tony
That's right.
Hinchcliffe's joke about trash in Puerto Rico.
That's right. That's right.
The garbage island.
Okay, and then this one is one of the best. Trump's Liz Cheney comments.
Oh, yeah.
One of the biggest media hoaxes concocted this year was the manipulation of Trump's remarks about Liz Cheney. While speaking at an event before the November 5th election, Trump critiqued Cheney's obsession with overseas military adventurism. The former president referred to Cheney as a radical war hawk and defended the troops forced to fight in never-ending conflicts neocons like Cheney would never personally partake in. Let's put her with a rifle, standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it when the guns are trained on her face. You know, they're all war hawks when they're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, gee, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. The media then claimed that Trump was calling for executing Cheney by firing squad.
What? The context, it escapes them.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, I think that's an ignorant part. When you go 9 guns, they're going to put 9 guns on her.
Yeah, right. They're just going to line her up and
Actually,
shoot.
it's going to be about 45, and you only see about 2 of them in the dark.
Yeah, what the heck is... And that's the stuff where you're like, okay, you're clearly...
Garbage.
Right. Now, this one should be like a story unto itself. What assassination attempts?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He fell off the stage. He fell on stage.
What assassination? Yeah, it was shrapnel.
Yeah.
He didn't get shot
A
in the
bug
air.
sting, they said.
Yeah.
Well, how about...
I remember that CNN put out there, he fell on stage.
Yeah.
How about Corey, who actually died protecting his
Right.
wife? Like, and it's that sort of stuff. And to this day, do we have a straight answer on Thomas Matthew Crooks?
No. In fact, Trump said a while back, as far as he's concerned, as far as he knew, they hadn't even tried to do anything.
Here's a thought on this. You know, the weapon wasn't right. He's not a trained assassin, but I think he had acquiescence that they said, go see what you can do with it. Let him go.
Yeah.
Because there was no overwatch.
Right.
And
Especially,
listen, guys, I've done a lot of physical security. What do you look for? You look for high points. You look for lines of
it was
fire.
so obvious
It's simple.
after the
It's
fact.
simple. And wait, your drone's broke. You should have several backup drones, okay?
Well, and he was there early with a rangefinder.
Right, you
Ridiculous. I
can't-
know. Yeah, they kept an eye on it.
you
The
can't
local
tell me
police-
that was not set up.
It was acquiesced to.
Not a
Absolutely.
doubt in my mind. I'll never believe otherwise.
Well, and I don't know if you saw this. I wrote an op-ed, or I wrote in air quotes,
Yeah, I did.
the Chat GPT thing.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that was good.
Where it's like, and it really, I was shocked.
Yeah.
It's like Trump wasn't, there was no assassination attempt. Nobody tried to kill him. And I tricked it into saying, well, who's Thomas Matthew Crooks? And then it was fixed the next day to where it wouldn't even recognize
Wow.
Crooks.
Wow.
And Crooks is cremated.
Yeah.
There's no
Pretty
like
quickly.
toxicology. There's no, you
No
don't
brain
have-
scan. No, no nothing.
So
And
like,
then his parents'
this is a
house.
question that doesn't need to go away now that 2024 is almost
don't
over.
want
Needs more focus on it now
Yeah,
that he's a
I
pilot.
sure hope
Yep.
so. Because remember his parents' house.
Some
It,
people
it
need to
looked
roll.
like a doctor's lab. It was so clean.
Now, in the last-ditch attempt, this was kind of the last hoax, to salvage Kamala Harris's flailing bid to be president, the Atlantic's Jeffrey Goldberg published an anonymously sourced October hit piece with claims that Trump said he wanted, quote, the kind of generals that Hitler had.
What, winners?
Yeah, you know, so-
5 years winners? Yeah.
It also contained accusations that Trump expressed anger about paying for the funeral services of a murdered army soldier.
Crazy. That is such crazy.
To the media, it didn't matter that the soldier's sister blasted Goldberg for this fabrication, or that numerous former Trump administration officials debunked the bogus claims. What mattered was regurgitating the Atlantic's slanderous hatchet job, which they did, with no questions asked. And see, I think this game has gone on for a long time. A long time. I mean, decades, generations, and just the early on, you couldn't really see it.
Well, you know, it's
We
sort of
only had
like
3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it works, right?
it's sort of like magic. You know, I don't know if you play Dungeons and Dragons or you watch Harry Potter
Mhm.
or whatever it is. It's the spells. They've been casting the same spells and it's been working for so long.
Yeah.
And
Oh, they
what
definitely
happens,
do that.
We go to retreat. We don't want to fight. And then now all of a sudden it's just the sleep spell doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
And now he's full on and he has the keys to the kingdom. So
Well, and it's now because we don't just have 3 networks, and
Yeah.
most newspapers, people are like, huh? You can now see it in real time, like all these spells they're casting be like explained in real time. Like, no, it's
that's
obvious nonsense.
direction.
But I love reiterating this point with the Emperor's New Clothes.
Yes.
Because folks always focus on the kid who calls out the naked emperor,
right.
but they often forget the end.
Yeah.
Like after the emperor is found out and the crowd is convinced by the boy that he doesn't have any clothes, what does the emperor and his group do? They keep walking.
They keep walking, yeah,
like they still have clothes on.
Tell the big lie enough, it's the truth.
And that's where the media, corporate media, is right now. Yeah. They're acting like, no, we're not naked. We're prestigious, reputable sources of the only sources of information. And everybody's like, no, you're naked, man, and it's ugly. It's gross.
Wasn't Don Lemon just interviewing a guy the other day? And he's a famous, I want to say he's a tennis player anyway, he's an athlete. And Don Lemon kept putting facts out about Trump. And the guy finally said, look, dude, we don't trust you. Right, we as the people do not trust you as organized media. All you've done is lie. And Don Lemon, of course, he's on the inside. He couldn't believe that. He's like, you people really feel this way.
Don Lemon. I was thinking you're thinking like Bacardi Lemon or something. I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't know what you meant, Don Lemon. In my world, Mushhead. Mushhead. Yeah.
And of all people, it was just ironic. Him. That's the funny. Most unbelievable person out there.
How could you say that about me?
Right.
So objective.
Exactly. Well, eventually we saw him get fired. Elon Musk fired him during an interview. That was right. What a pompous ass.
Yeah, he is. He is. No, and it makes me wonder, what are the next big hoaxes or big fights? Well, you've seen a few with these appointees Trump's made.
Sure.
Especially the Pete Hegseth one, publishing an email that his mother sent while she was really emotional in the middle of this nasty divorce.
Every time you think they can't get lower.
Right. It's just awful. Now, I think the hearings, like which hearings are going to have the biggest fireworks? And I think it's clearly going to be RFK Jr.
Oh, no doubt.
I think that is going to be the biggest show.
Probably.
Folks ready to bear. And I think RFK is going to hold his own.
I think he will too. And I think he'll prevail.
Because in the same way they go, well, he's anti-vaccines. It's like, no, if you actually listen to him, he has a little bit of nuance to his thought. His lawyer, or one of his lawyers, recently went on Tucker Carlson explaining, no, this is nonsense. Like, the New York Times claimed RFK wanted to pull the polio vaccine. And they're like, no, he was talking about one particular new technology. Not the polio vaccine. Oh, he's against childhood vaccines. He's like, no, I want them to remove these manufacturers' vaccines shouldn't have immunity.
Agreed.
They should have to go through the same safety trials as any other drug.
Look at the history of it, and you'll see that was a whole setup.
Right. So I think it's very primed, though, for there to be fireworks at the RFK hearing. Maybe you get something like that with Hegseth.
A little bit.
Maybe you get something like that with Tulsi Gabbard a little bit.
Well, they're going to.
You got to remember, these are the people though that thought that Fauci was the Oracle of Delphi. Right? I mean, let's go to the wizard. Let's find out what he's got to say.
Yeah.
Dr. Fauci said in a poll, know thyself. Wait.
No insider trading.
Right. Senator Paul. You have no idea what you're talking about, Senator Paul. Oh, I can't wait for Tony Fauci to get what he deserves.
I'll be honest with you. I'm shocked that he's not been sleeping with the fishes.
I think the reason is he's still useful. He's still halfway useful. I think he's running out, though.
Maybe it's big pharmacy. I mean,
no, and he is sort of the point man on one of these massive NIH, so he controls a lot of the funding. So everybody who's under his control is going to be quiet for the time being.
Plus, he's going to make for a good scapegoat. Everybody hates him already.
That's true.
Well, but it doesn't need to just be him.
No, but we, the American people, they got him. That's the guy. We're not going to look any further.
No, but are there still people walking around and go, yeah, the masks work?
Dude, I see people.
Or that the 6 feet apart work?
There's doctors that still maintain. And men of science, women of science, and they want to talk about a non-infiltration mask.
Right.
Look, that runs antithetical to everything they were trained in medical school on.
Thank you.
But that's a political machine. You know what? They'll tell you.
Right.
Good friend of mine, chief, was over at Jackson Hospital. He said it was get it or you're fired.
Yep.
Okay. So now you've got to spew the company.
Well, you got to keep going,
right?
Yeah.
Right.
So,
yeah. While you're worried about your life and your loved ones, we're going to threaten your livelihood.
Yeah, sure.
100%.
Fear is a great motivator.
It is. Well, and of course the vaccines would stop transmission, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
No, it was Omicron that stopped the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was viral enough, infectious enough to everybody gets it, and okay, now we're done. Could have sped up that process pretty early.
A good friend of mine who's a Navy chaplain, his dad had 3 funeral homes up in Indiana during the COVID, and he's now passed, God bless his soul. But he said, I could tell whenever I started to do the leaching process out, whether they had a.
Is that right?
Or not. He said no. He said almost every time the blood was much harder to remove and thicker, and I found that to be very interesting. You know.
Oh yeah. There's a lot to that, and that issue's not going away. And I think that's why there will, in particular, be fireworks around RFK Jr. They don't. The stakes are massive.
He'll open the door on it.
Yep. But let's hit this last break. Hopefully, have Ray Bowles on the other side.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
I'm Brett Lanham from Benjamin Moore New Look, and we couldn't have imagined how easy, affordable, and flexible advertising on the radio could be. It has been near effortless on our part. You could say our last 2 years have been the best in 10 because of a skyrocketing GDP. I say it's owed to Blue Water Broadcasting and their advertising staff.
Blue Water Broadcasting is the #1 most listened to radio group in the River region. Find out how to put this reach to work for your business. Call us to find out how we can help. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Solve unsolved crimes by watching Action 8 News. Look for our exclusive I-Team reports as we work with Central Alabama Crime Stoppers to solve murder mysteries and put criminals behind bars. Victims' families are counting on you to watch Action 8 News. Ever miss an Action 8 newscast? Catching up is easy with the free Zeem app. Watch the news live on your phone or see newscasts from the past 3 days. Download Zeem. Search for Zeem in your app store today and stay on top of what's happening from Action 8 News.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is #1 in the #2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Live local talk. The River Region's only 24-hour News Talk FM station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Well, I'm on a time crunch.
All right, crunch
so
on.
we're doing the epoxy, the other bathroom for the elementary school and epoxy floors.
Yes, how's that coming?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. The only time in your life you'll actually walk barefooted in the boys' bathroom. But we had a bucket left over, so I'm getting in my truck running back to the store so we can put it in our bathroom so I can show people when they come.
Good idea, man.
All right.
Because you have a 20-minute window, and this stuff gets super hot, and then it's as hard as a brick. You'll never break it after that.
And now with that, Ray, do you have solid colors, or is it just a few variety of colors, or how do you got that set up?
You've got 8 colors, the chip. You got 8 color chips.
Okay.
And the way this system works, you know how you see a lot of the epoxy turn yellow?
Yep.
in garages?
Yep.
Well, that's what epoxy does. It turns yellow. Well, with this system, you have enough chips where you'll never see the epoxy.
Oh, cool.
So you don't have to worry about it turning yellow on you over time.
Nice.
And, but did y'all have a good holiday season?
Yeah,
Pretty
good. I'm pretty relaxed, actually.
Ours too. I'm ready for next week to get in. Actually, when is Trump being inaugurated? Is it in like the 20th or something?
20th.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, somebody offered me tickets to go, and I'm like, no, I think I'll stay here and watch it on TV.
Hate to say it, but it's probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I looked at room rates. I was all in,
good
so
Lord, I didn't consider that.
No, I'm going to do like counter. Like I'm going to get like deep. My Che Guevara shirt. And
really?
People, yeah.
Viva la revolution.
Right. Like play both sides of it, like this thing. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if Andrew was willing to drive up there instead of flying, then we could have drove back halfway and got a hotel room for halfway decent.
Yeah. Man, I didn't think about the rates up there.
Yeah, well, Joey, if you're going to be up there, I don't mind running the show for you that day, but you might lose a lot of listeners.
that's fine. We don't need them. Like that's fine. But I will be wearing my Che and my Mal button, and then saying Trump is the greatest. Trump is. I'm going to confuse the heck out of people.
A raspberry beret.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, which you need to jump up and down like Elon Musk does.
Yeah.
That's
Show off
the way
my
the TV
little
camera
belly
goes-
here.
Yeah. Well, he told
Yeah,
him.
the TV will go straight. The cameras will go straight to you every time.
That's what people want.
Wait, so I know you're on a time crunch. That number's still 285-8117?
Yes, but I only ask one favor. If you do that, Joey, have a sign in your hand. Call where that sign that says "I'm from Mississippi."
Or West Virginia.
Yeah, or West Virginia. Either or. That's it.
All right, guys. Listen, if y'all need a floor, call us 285-8117. I got to get to the office and get this stuff poured out before it's too late.
All right,
There you go.
Take
Appreciate
it
it,
easy,
Ray. Again, that's Ray Bowles with Private Carpet. So what did we learn today? I mean, we learned a lot of things, I think.
We could see Daddy's car headlights coming down the street.
Daddy's almost home.
He's almost home. This is true.
Yeah. Some of the kids are not happy about it.
Oh, no. I think somebody's going to get some whoopings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There will be some discipline served.
Yeah. Well, we learned about some hoaxes. We learned about some things coming up next year. We learned a lot from
Vets Recovery.
Yeah, John Kilpatrick,
Yeah,
Vets Recovery.
Yeah.
I
thank
had
you
a
for
few
putting
people
that
reach
together.
out, so I sent them the information.
It's great.
That's good.
It's great.
Well, and I learned that I'm now very much looking forward to every other Monday with this gentleman right here.
Oh,
I was already enjoying it, but like, I think this is going to work.
Guys, it's been, listen, I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It's refreshing. I get a lot of feedback from people. Joey, you're held in pretty high regard by a lot of the retired military people. So if you do a good job. And the words were, he could do much bigger. He could do much bigger.
Hear that
than
a lot.
Montgomery. I
You
said,
hear that
I
a lot.
think he has a reason why he's here. I said his grandfather's here. I was explaining to him, you do a good job, Joey. And
Well, appreciate it, man.
And I'm privileged to be with you guys. So
Well, look forward to seeing you again. And
I'm bringing Lou next month again.
All right. All right.
You know what? I want to see, can we get like a marathon with him? Can we do the advertising at the beginning and at the end and just let
Now
that
you're
guy
talking about
run?
language.
Let
I
that
can
guy
talk to
run.
upper level
Yeah, we'll
Manglement.
figure that out.
Well, y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour, Greg Budell. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada News Talk.